Another day where the S&P 500 and NASDAQ aren't quite trading in tandem with one another, at least to start this pre-market session. Here's the SPY pushing lower here, though, of course, still above its pre-market high as it has been as of late. NASDAQ, though, just continuing this uptrend. We know that we've still seen these tech names really leading the market. Micron was a great example of that yesterday, and MU at its pre-market highs, knocking on the door of that 985. So very close here to 1,000 for MU. We know a fellow memory chip named SanDisk actually catching an upgrade today, so keep an eye on SNDK as well. Big tech earnings after the bell. You're going to get a lot of these SaaS plays like CRM. You're going to get Snowflake as well, and then Marvell, one of Sean's favorites, and certainly I think one of your favorites if you've been watching big tech as of late. But in terms of day one earnings plays today, not a bad look either. You've got the likes of Dick's Sporting Goods. You've got Zscaler. You also have PDD and ANF. So there's tons to look at today, whether you're looking at retail, tech, or even, of course, far beyond earnings here today, Sharif.
Yeah, Dare, you summarized it quite succinctly there. Tesla also in focus as that reignition of the Musk conglomerate starts making its way back to the fore with the SpaceX IPO not long away. Up nicely here, 2.25%. NVIDIA looking to spend some money, as they typically do, $150 billion. They'll be in focus as well, and Amazon dropping some money as well and expanding on the other side of the pond in England, as you mentioned, Adara. Micron absolutely ripping here in the pre-market, on the precipice of taking out about another 10% after the big move yesterday. IRN also in focus, up 4 2/3, and Zscaler bringing down the entire cybersecurity sector, losing a quarter of its value in one morning. We'll keep an eye out on that. And ANF, a smaller name, but reported as well, up 4.5.
Do you think we get Micron 1K before the bell?
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and find out. I do want to say here, before we send you back to the guys, I want to shout out our friends. Thank you for supporting us out here at Amass Brands. If you were trading small caps this morning, you might have seen AMSS. They're trading on the NASDAQ recently, announcing that their Good Twin brand has become the #1 organic non-alcoholic wine brand in the U.S. That's according to data from Nielsen. They're saying that Good Twin now holds more than 35% market share in the category, with sales growing by 122% year over year as premium non-alcoholic beverage demand continues to accelerate. So shout out and thank you here to AMSS. Good look, I guess, if you were amassing these very early pre-market in terms of that move to the upside. Really quickly, too, Sharif, I want to mention as well, Lululemon, not much volume on this, but I saw some people in our chat mentioning it. The Chip Wilson saga apparently looks to be over for now. They just said, okay, Chip, we'll agree with you. You still have your 8.7% stake. A couple new members here, board of directors being added.
Absolutely. I don't think it really settles, though, the proxy fight that they're engaging with Elliott Management. We know they're still very actively involved there. Elliott, obviously one of the more aggressive proxies or activist investors out there, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I was actually in Lulu over the weekend, spent some money. Nothing was on sale, by the way, and I couldn't really, number one, it took me about 20 minutes to get into the change room. That's how long the lineup for the change room was. Thankfully, the lineup for the cash wasn't as long, but the point is, at least from my experience, I'm not seeing a slowdown in sales at Lulu. I know that, the numbers reflect that differently on a corporate level, but Adara here at Yorkdale, anyway, it was rammed.
Yeah, my friend actually used to work at the Yorkdale location, works at a different one now, and she said the same thing, that just in terms of actual people in the store, it's quite enormous. But either way here, people were looking at this one today. So LU on watch. Lots to look at this morning, guys. We're now going to say good morning to our friends Sean and Neil.
Yeah, good morning, and well, I mean, it's a good morning for almost all of Techland.
Yes, why not?
It's not if you're software. If you make hardware, you're good. If you're not, they'll just sell and ask questions later, because it doesn't matter. Like you're 25% down because you have 25% annual growth. 25% annual growth is usually pretty good, but to tell that to Zscaler and all the strays are getting caught over in the land of cybersecurity. So CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, all going to be down today, all because of that. And then Micron lifting all ships, 1 trillion, 1,000 split next. I guess that'll be the other thing. And then how much of this rally do we get until a couple of weeks from now? We're gonna get SpaceX. You got Tesla up for the speculation that there could be a merger there at some point down the line. And the Russells already made their move. Tesla, the SpaceX is in the Russell as of the end of next month. Like it's going in the 26th. The S&P will probably follow at some point. I don't know the timing of that, but the Russell's doing it, and this will be 2 weeks, and then it'll already be going to be in the Constitution. So it is what it is. Like it's just, we're in a bull market. It's a bull run. It's a bull rally. What are you gonna do? Like it's gonna be, it's one of those. It's irrational until a random point, and when it isn't, who knows? Like this. Like the big things we're waiting for outside of SpaceX are like the straight opened up, and because we're pretty much through earnings at this point. We got some decent ones tonight, and then that's more or less.
Big ones.
That's more or less it. Yeah, ServiceNow, sorry, not ServiceNow. Salesforce, Snowflake, and Marvell, obviously, for some pretty big ones that we've talked about. But earnings have been pretty great. You can't really blame anything on the numbers at this point.
No, we've got, this is there we go. Look, we've got Allo on right here. Yeah, see, here's Allo. There's Allo right there. It's funny because we were talking about Lulu Remen over there. And by the way, don't show Joe Marvell over here. All right, so there's Lulu right here. Yeah, I think this could be an interesting stock today. We'll see if it gets going. I mean, look, I don't think this Chip Wilson guy owns 8.7% of the shares. Like, talk about a large percentage there. So that's going to be interesting to see what this winds up doing. I almost think it's a fade back down in. I still own a little bit of these shares, and it's not going well. But I do appreciate Sharif's patronage there in the store. Yeah, look, I don't think I was haven't sold any of this guy in a while. We sold some AMD yesterday. With earnings coming, obviously a little nervous hands. We'll see if I'll talk about it. If I do anything, it'll be in the after show. So. Afternoon show. We'll see about selling off some Marvell, but it's going to be a good one. I actually just asked you guys out there for anybody watching, and I don't know, probably some bots have probably responded. Let me see here. No, nobody, maybe. Nobody. We just posted, oh, there it is right here. Trader TV show will be on again, and we'll have to block this guy. Let's find out oh, there's another one here. I just put this up. Let's find some ideas, what you guys want us to do there. So there you go. Rocket Lab says RY Rambo, and Crypto says good morning. So the only thing about Rocket Lab is, and we said, when is this all coming to an end? I'll tell you when it's coming to an end, June 12th. Most of these names will pull back, I think, very, very dramatically. I think the top of this market temporarily will be the 12th of June, if not the 13th, maybe if not the 11th, when we get ready for SpaceX to launch. Everyone's just getting really excited about it, and I think that that's amazing. So if you've been playing that, it's been an easy day trade. Ever since that SpaceX IPO has been announced, Rocket Lab is to the moon, and they're all going. I just want to warn everybody that I do think, and I even said this yesterday on the show, get puts ready to go for middle of June. I think this all comes crashing back in to some kind of levels. I don't think that it's going to be a permanent move back down, but this sort of hysteria in some of these moves, I think, is well thought over and well put and well timed. So let's just wait to see what happens on June the 12th. The only idea I have written down right now is Tesla, and that's going to be a long. The 7th richest company in the world. Right now up to 440, really had a great bounce, man, off of 360, 370 area there when we had that earnings call, and then boom to the upside, spending more money on Capex. With the share of power and everything that they have with SpaceX, that merger, I don't know what it'll do to Tesla's stock. I mean, we'll have to see where SpaceX comes out, what the valuation is. I assume it's going to be through the roof. But, two companies that don't care about PE, probably Tesla and SpaceX. So there we go, man. The richest man's going to get richer in about 2 weeks. So we'll have to wait to see what happens there with Tesla. And then, honestly, man, pretty disappointed just watching out for IBIT. Like, yesterday they had that move down. It was 78, 79,000. And now it's looking like it wants to go lower. We shout out to JKL, who's been talking about shorting MSTR. I don't know if that's moved as much as Bitcoin. 190 down to 160. Yeah, so this is looking like it's a shelf right here as well, potentially breaking lower there in IBIT and or Bitcoin. But yeah, it should be a fun day here again, watching some of these chip names. And then, yeah, shout out to SK Hynix, became the new $1 trillion member there today, last night over there in Korea. And then here we go to the upside right now. What's up, Randy? There we go. Oh, breakfast is here, it looks like, with the bananas. But there goes Micron. Look, yesterday we broke through 900 and we were like, what are we going to do? It closes at 900 today, 980, just up another 9% there, Randy. Although my memory is getting worse and worse every day, seems like Micron's memory is getting better and better. So that's Micron. And then yesterday, one of the big trades for me at the end of the day was punching AMD through 5 bills. So that was a good little trade there. It took us a couple minutes to do that, and eventually it took off, and that was my second best stock there yesterday. So yeah, kaboom, goes a dynamite there, Randy. Up through many levels now, 515. So we did sell some yesterday at 497. And then the other name that we sold recently was ARM at 297 or whatever it was. So that's back up to 320 here as well. Just selling small pieces, man. Like we said, we had Brian on yesterday. I think that's the right thing to do. And then trying to get longer in other names. You know, one name that was SoFi, that's not good, man. Well, we bought some 16, so yay, we're up 12 cents, so woohoo on that one. So far, we'll see if SoFi can get off, you know, this low right here. I think it eventually climbs a little bit, so I'm happy to get my money into there. And then the last $1 trillion name that has a little bit of work to do here, because it's an insurance, basically, name, and has nothing to do with some of these chips, is Berkshire, and it's just kind of struggling down here. So I'm thinking about, you know, maybe stepping in a little bit more into here, but no dividend is not that exciting to me. It's a position that I have, not an overly huge one. One that I wish I dumped money elsewhere. Berkshire not doing a whole heck of a lot. And then you know, yesterday we had some of the quantum plays make moves back down in, so we can have a look to see if they, you know, are on a little bit of a rebound here today with Rigetti, down another 4%. So some of the steam has come off of those names. And then, you know, SMR, yesterday we got Oklo. Ooh, SMR is back to $12. Yesterday we wrote down 11.75 as the potential long. That didn't come in. Maybe we'll look at some SMR going on today. But I'm going to post that in the chat. You guys let me know. I just went through about 10 stocks there, if not more. Let me know what you guys think. I put it in the chat. Get on Twitter here. Get on X. Let me know what names you guys are looking at, and we'll discuss those hopefully in depth. But yeah, not too bad there. Should be a good day. It's beautiful weather outside.
A lot of small caps on the visualizer already this morning. Like I would have, if you would have told me that Micron would not be on the top of the visualizer this morning, I would. It's usually right there, but MNTS, I guess that makes sense.
Okay.
Here's the one that surprises me. GoPro, really? It's up 20. It's a $1 stock, so I guess that's why.
Someone wrote it in 8 times.
That's probably all it is. VCIG, another small capper. Zscaler, obviously getting shellacked today. I think there's a good chance for an SSR bounce in that one. It's just a matter of finding the spot. AMD makes sense. Redwire, Spaceman going absolutely nuts. That one was up over 26% today, and it did more yesterday. TSM. Talk about things that are making all-time highs that we don't even talk about. Right? Taiwan Semi just continues to roll. You got NVIDIA in there. SMCI, they're breaking out in their own right as well. Tesla, and then I have no idea what JAG-U is, but that's probably another $2 stocks, another small capper in there. So it's maybe not as much leaning toward some of the chip names as I would have suspected today, but it just goes to show that there's a lot moving. We were just talking about things going sideways like Berkshire. The XLF is consolidating. The financials have been trying to make that next leg up, and I think that's a place where it could be the next thing to try to go a little bit later. And I see a lot of, there's CRML in the chat and Rocket Lab.
It always works, man.
We always get these ones. But again, like the
same guy
names,
putting in the same name.
The space names are going absolutely nuts.
Oh, man.
Like you pick and choose. I mean, you got Planet Labs, you got Rocket Labs, you got Redwire, you got Fly. Remember Lunar in the afternoon? It got absolutely shellacked. Yep. When Blue Origin got that contract. Yeah, well, it gapped almost all of it back overnight. Like this was a $43 stock that went to $31, and then just overnight, yeah, we're back at 41. Why not? I feel like this one will provide some trading opportunities. Look at how they're already selling LUNR, just program selling. So it's a bit different from the other space names. If there's one that's a fade today, do we have free locates? Oh yeah, we had them yesterday. If there's one that has a chance, if it goes up, to be a fade, I would imagine it's them, just because they had that bad news, perceived bad news, right, when they didn't get the contract and Blue Origin was able to get it. Super chat from JKL likes Nokia. Let's throw that one up there. You're not the only person. We've seen a lot of Nokia. Everyone seems to like the NVIDIA tie-up. They're up. They're down today. Well, it made a nice fresh high yesterday, but Looks like they made a bit of a pull, or making a bit of a pullback. No news that I know of this morning on Nokia, but ooh. It's like the 3-day, it's like the day 3 type pullback play, it almost seems like in Nokia. And then we got Daniel Goldstein. Good morning, VCIG and Redwire. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thanks for, well, thank you. I'm not sure what. Thanks for tuning in. How about that? But we appreciate the super chat. Can't go. Redwire was super explosive yesterday. It's already starting to sell off. Like some of these space names, I just showed you Lunar. And you look at Redwire, they've been trending back in all morning long. Firefly, sort of the same thing. Like that's underneath the breakout price. It held that, remember it held that 59 area for an afternoon long and then eventually lost it? It'll be key to see if it can hold the same 59.60 where there was resistance. But all these space names are selling off here in the pre-market after some awesome gains.
It's funny, the only one here, smartest one in the room by far, I would say, if you're looking over here. A shout out to Ramin. You know, as I said, it's not a hard thing to think about, you know, where these stocks were going this year, especially when we knew that SpaceX was coming out. So there comes Ramin hot on the tail right now, 27% for Ramin, and what a couple good. I was, you know, like I'd say, I would be looking to sell some of these if I was in them, but give it a couple more days. Like I said, June 12th is the day maybe to sell, maybe a couple days before. But there it is, ASTS and Rocket Lab right there, reaching those highs. We're still riding the Marvell high over there. Joe got crowd strikes. We'll see what's going on there. Poor Obi with his Sidious would basically be worth nothing, but he's there, the leader of the pack there for 100 days. Obi coming in, and then there's Adara. We're all right here. Average portfolio, I think, was at the bottom somewhere. There it is, 4%, unbelievable. Micron's only up 300% or something. But there it is. This is what we've been doing here on the portfolio tracker. And there it is, man. Ramin coming out right now to try to make some dents up there with Rocket Lab. I think I was just looking over, and thank you everybody for, you know, contributing over here. Dane likes Palantir today. You're in the chat as well. Rocket Lab, we already talked about that. There we go. Ozan is loaded up apparently here. What's up, Ozan? I saw you in the chat with December 480 calls on Tesla. Tesla trying to push 450 today. That looks like a great call there for those 480s. Probably worth a lot of money there, Ozan. Hopefully that keeps going up for you. Happy Wednesday to you as well. Sebastian likes rare earth plays, and then there's that Lunar as well as the SOX. Yeah, I think those are all, you know, going to be the right space today. Like I said, I'm really looking at Tesla, but market's trying to pull back in. You have Google downside this morning as well. Apple, some of these names are starting to pull back just a little bit underneath some of the levels from yesterday's close. So down 0.6% right now is Google. That's looking low. And Apple also underneath volume weighted average price, I believe, last time I looked. Yeah. So they're starting to head lower too. So, you know, a little bit of, you know, sort of kinks over here in the armor, and we'll see what winds up happening if we bounce off of VWAP, which is a little lower than where we are now on the TQQs. So yeah, it's just one of these days again, man. SOXL is going to be right. You know, Marvell up, AMD up. I saw Micron, what that's doing, and probably SNDK is probably. Wow, only $1,600. So crazy, man. Bless you, Joe. We sit here and we, like we said on their earnings call, was down to it touched 1,000 on their call about 3 weeks ago.
Here's a spike.
And now you're up to 1,600 again. There we go. The market is now
market was a bit of a spike
right there.
Oh, USO just broke the low.
Oh, okay, so probably.
Yeah, let's go to Adara. Looks like we have something with
why not
related to oil here.
We do have some news here on USO, guys. Again, it's coming from Iran State TV, so be aware of that. But Iran State TV is saying that Iran has a draft of the initial unofficial framework for a memorandum of understanding with the U.S. So again, keep in mind the words unofficial and draft. We still have a lot to work on here, but looks like we could have some kind of framework, at least at this point, unofficially, for an end to the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. Certainly a good look there. I want to mention as well here PayPal, because that's been moving around pre-market, seeing some comments from new CEO Enrique Lores, saying the company's working to reduce management layers. Travel spending has slowed. Yeah, these are not great comments here, and as you can see, a little bit of a spike here in this stock, but another comment that was made here by PYPL saying they expect Q2 branded checkout to come in on the low side of their outlook for Q2. I mean, do you think that PYPL has a chance of coming back here, Sharif?
Yeah, an interesting look here as well, because now PayPal users can actually use WeChat Pay in China. So if you're gonna plan, I guess, a summer trip to China, you don't really want to sign up for WeChat and go through that whole rigorous process. You can. You can use now QR codes basically at points of sale. I know over there they've got the hand scan as well as the retina scan. I think this one you're just going to have to use the QR code. So good look here for PayPal, at least in that respects, but obviously some other fundamental issues there, Dara.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I want to mention back here just to pivot to these chips a bit. I know we talked about these memory names already quite a bit, but Micron now pulling back a little bit from that pre-market high of 985, but we know this one ran yesterday just on an upgrade or even just a price target increase. And SanDisk has quite the upgrade of its own this morning.
It does. Let's talk about Micron, though. Barclays analyst Thomas O'Malley lifting the price target markedly here from 675 up to 1175, emphasizing what he's saying is a major structural pivot in how the memory industry operates. Let's talk a little bit about this. He believes Micron is transitioning out of that, volatile, very highly cyclical commodity stock, and he's saying they're turning into a highly predictable enterprise infrastructure provider, and as a result of that, that justifies the premium that he's giving them here. Now, historically, we know memory makers, they signed strict one-year contracts, and then quarterly, you would be able to renegotiate the price of memory with them. That is the past. They're not doing that anymore. Now they're actually signing 5-year long-term agreements, LTAs. We've spoken about these before in different contexts. And what they're doing is kind of nuanced. So they're signing you in for a longer period of time, but they're giving you just below the market price. So you get a little bit of a discount for that duration risk, and that gives them sort of a floor on the amount of revenue that they're generating. Analysts love that because it makes it predictable. Upfront prepayment as well could be an industry standard according to Thomas O'Malley. So typically what you would have done, you would have signed an agreement with them and then you would have dished out the money upon receiving the product or just prior. That's not happening anymore. There's going to be huge sums of upfront cash prepayment, and that significantly changes their balance sheet. Last but not least, Adara, under the new long-term agreements, Micron is willing to trade away a little bit of the maximum near-term peak pricing, as I mentioned, to give you that sort of longer-term time frame. So I like this. Obviously, a $1 trillion club, you don't get there by accident.
Yeah, really good look there for MU and SanDisk maybe trying to join them there. I want to mention as well, as USO continues to drop, we have some more details from what Iran State TV says is a draft of the initial and official framework for a memorandum of understanding with the U.S. U.S. military forces will be withdrawing from the vicinity of Iran to also be lifting the naval blockade. Apparently, military vessels are not included in this draft agreement, but Iran will be committed to restoring the number of commercial transit ships through the Strait of Hormuz to pre-war levels within 1 month. So some Strait of Hormuz mentions here within this draft agreement. Again, it's unofficial. It's being reported by Iran State TV. Lots to talk about here, guys, between USO, PayPal, and these memory stocks.
Well, I mean, the ES was basically about to go green or red just now. And now it's 0.5% to the upside. The NASDAQ's is now a full percentage to the upside. Bitcoin, which has been trash and was actually one of the few things that was gapped down. That's now in the, IBIT's in the green. Doesn't matter. It's a 24-hour market. But just to give you an idea of what's happening here with this USO story. But again, with this Iran story, again, we've sort of seen this back and forth. I feel like we'll feel a little bit better when we hear something from the U.S. on this end. And it's going to end eventually. But you're already seeing oil is now broken the 50-period moving average. So, like the signal that we're in the coming back in moment, yeah, we're breaking the trend here on USO. And this feels like an opportunity maybe today to try to find some short pops. You're going to see some weak, obviously the energy names are going to be weak, and I don't have to tell you guys anything on those lines. But as long as we don't hear anything bad contradicting this, I wouldn't overreact to it like punching highs or, I guess, shorting lows in here. But when it comes to the trend here on USO, this is definitely a good start. Unless this gets completely contradicted, you were looking for this to lose this 50-period support line, and it absolutely has. So looking terrible for oil. Some of the energy names I think are going to be some value. Like I like that Venezuela high on CVX for that to come back in. I think it's only a matter of time. Like it's still a good. It's like 5 or 6% away from that. It's about 170. But I think that has a chance to get there. Like the Venezuela high was in here at about 168 to 170. That's a 200 period. I think this is exactly the kind of ball that can get this rolling to get into some support. Because you didn't want to buy that on all those crazy highs. But now that we're coming back to some actual levels and some of these energy names, they're going to start to become value again. So I like the CVX of the 200 period. Maybe this is what gets us there.
Yeah, I mean, I just put on Rocket Lab down here. If it does have a little bit of a drop, we do want to make sure that we get some Rocket Lab. This market will give this all back, so don't buy this top. It's coming back in as we speak. This news has just been, same as always. We just heard that it's going to take 60 days or 40 days or something to get it all figured out. So hopefully that settles out and we're able to continue with crazy upward momentum. We talked about how the NASDAQ had such a great April and then it had May, and it's just like, okay, yeah, the best month of trading, I was saying, for traders, April to May, and then now that might have just got past May to June right now as we just continue to tick higher and higher and higher. So there it is. So, we'll be taken with the buy your in without tangible verification. So is not yet finalized. So, we expect this to come back in. That would be Rocket Lab. I do like RKLB here after looking at everything. So that would be one thing. And then I'm upset to not have gotten IREN down at those levels. Obviously happy as to get ARM, but we wanted to put similar money into IREN down there at 45 bucks. That's gone up to 62. They're looking to break higher. I think this is also another one that's prime for potential breakout through this level as power names continue to make these kind of moves. And I'm happy enough to get into Constellation. However, we had to suffer through a dip, which we were able to buy some down there at the bottom. Our first take was around here at 300 or somewhere around, must have been around here. And then this happened, and then we were lucky enough to pick up some there near the lows off their earnings report. So there goes Constellation back upside. Not huge like IREN or anything like that, but definitely like the power. All right, Joel's at the big screen. Let's go see what he's up to.
All right, guys, good morning and welcome. Let's take a look at some of the activity yesterday and some potential levels leading into today's session. We're going to kick things off with Micron here, guys. A lot of talk about this name specifically, and we have a lot of volume stepping in on this week's expiration cycle at that $310 strike price. We're going to kick things off with the open interest as we're sitting around 1,200 contracts that are still currently open, and then we also have 22,000 contracts that were open and closed on yesterday's session. Once again, that's going to be sitting at that 310 strike price. But one thing that I want us to note is that when you get into the world of derivatives and some of these names that aren't as liquid as your typical Apples, NVDAs, the Qs, and the SPY, you have these hefty spreads. You're going to be looking at around $50, $55 just to get involved here, okay, guys? So Delta, we're going to be looking at that $32 metric. That's going to be slightly OTM, but as we open up, watch out for that to drastically change. Now, your gamma exposure is relatively cool as well, guys. At the money, IV sitting at 116%. So that is going to be priced into these options contracts. And if volatility continues to climb, that can help you. But it also, if it starts to decay, that's going to work against you unless you're an options writer. Moving forward, let's actually take a look at the contract itself. Some of this stuff is absolutely insane. And it's amazing to watch as from yesterday's open, guys, to about the peak of where this contract was. Of course, you would have to be involved with this out of the money contract before this happened, before out of the gate, most likely before the close on the prior session. So that would have been Friday. There was no session on Monday. But what happens is, guys, right from the open to the peak here, you get a staggering 646% return in this specific contract, going from a value of $3.63 all the way up to $27 at its peak. Those are some insane numbers in the span of one trading session. Moving forward, let's take another look. Katina Man trading this on yesterday's, in the latter half of it, that final segment of the trading day, AMD, that $500 break. So what are we gonna look at now? $510 expiring this Friday on AMD. Also, what we're going to do is open interest is really starting to cool down, I find, in this name, just due to the value increasing, and it doesn't have as much activity as we've seen prior. But What we are going to focus on right now is the bid and the ask. You can see there's a pretty wide spread, and then as for your delta, it's high for where it's sitting at. Expect that to increase after the open. Now your gamma exposure is relatively light, but your at the money IV, an additional uptick up to 87.7%. Once again, that's going to be priced into your options contracting. Now, what we want to look at is the open interest sitting around 1,400 contracts there, guys, still at that $510 strike price. This is the largest that I could find throughout multiple strikes, so we'll keep an eye out on that one, but it's not much size whatsoever. Now, as for the volume, 8,800 open and closed on yesterday's session. Now, if we're going to talk about contract appreciation, here's another name, not as much as Micron, but who's going to complain about 163% return in that specific contract? We're going to be going from $5.75 all the way up to $15.15 in that specific contract alone, all right? So from the open, slightly after the open to the peak of that. Again, you'd have to be involved with these contracts before the open and from the prior session. That's the beauty of the out of the money contracts. Now, a name that we've also been talking about here this morning, guys, is IBID. The Bitcoin ETF not performing that well. So let's see if we can find somewhat of a base here maybe. And we're going to be looking at this $40 strike price on IBIT. Open interest around 26,000 contracts. That's going to be the largest on this week's expiration cycle. So hopefully we can identify this as a put wall and we have the ability to bounce off of this $40 mark and maybe even a little bit ahead of that. If we absorb it and continue to move south, it can get pretty ugly. Now, considering it's an out of the money contract, you can see our Greek metrics are relatively low, and I'm referring to the delta and the gamma. That's a $4 delta, but a $5 gamma. Now, as for the bid and the ask, we're sitting on a dollar spread, nothing. The chances are of this contract heading there, as for per our delta, are relatively low by the end of the week, but we're not going to rule anything out as the market is continuing to rally and Bitcoin is not participating. Now, as for the volume, 2,390 contracts open and closed at that specific level. Nothing from an appreciation standpoint on this contract. I just thought I would pour a little salt in the wound and look at yesterday's IBIT price action as it continued to slide and some strong names continued to rally, guys. Let's send it back.
Yeah, with you on that, IBID. I mean, that's one of those ways. It was MicroStrategy the other day, and then, but back looking at Micron today, or at IBID today. The reason I have Micron up here is just wanted to point out that rally that we saw, oil down to the lows and the Iran headline, the Nasdaq and the ES both pressing into the highs. It's worth noting that you didn't actually get much of a ramp up in Micron. Like, it's been trending back in from those highs. So when you got that bump with oil going down, it didn't really take most of the chip names much higher. Like, they've been giving some profits back here. Like, I juxtapose that with, I think you got a better bounce. Like, got Iran on the mind. That was a bit of a better bounce. It was trending down with the ES, bit of a better bounce there. But not too crazy buying coming across some of the chip names. Apple got back into the green. By the way, Apple was red on the session. Well, I mean, the session was red in the pre-market before we just got that news. So one of the weaker names has been Apple. Just interesting to note that you didn't see a lot of buying back into the highs in some of the chips. I could see some profit taking off of the open. And then TSM, Sam JR just said TSM in the chat. I mean, you can throw so many, like Taiwan Semi also making fresh highs here. It'll open up at an all-time high, barring some kind of actual disaster here above the 420 level. It had a bit of a small bounce, but yeah, like the highs that got made as we were coming onto the air just before 8 o'clock, looks like none of the chip names came close to revisiting them. And that's with both the NASDAQ and the ES breaking out. So it just goes to show, like, sometimes you get frothy. It doesn't mean they're going to move as much with the oil headlines. They got their own reasons to go here today. So I guess it's not going to be all about the chips if we get that continuation downside in USO. But there's lots that's running, right? Remember, like, don't forget, like, the space names on a percentage basis were the most impressive movers yesterday, right? Like, there's names like IREN that are in play. And if you like the other direction, there's like Zscaler. Oh, Zscaler's catching a bid. So ZS, only 24% down. See, even they can catch a bid on some positive news, potentially.
I almost put on the sticky note there, Zscaler, or CrowdStrike. I mean, I was going to use CrowdStrike or PanW as the sort of names that could get caught up in that dump out, which they have been, that I think are buys. I actually think CrowdStrike today might even be a buy for the long term, just take advantage of this couple points down. I really like the area there for CrowdStrike. But there's Tesla, there's Accuse, there's Rocket Lab, and there's IREN, all longs. So we're playing momentum there. If the Qs winds up dipping, obviously we get that move now to the high side. So I don't think that that's going to. Well, I mean, I said it's coming back in. So let's wait to see if that does happen. I believe it will. And then Rocket Lab, really like yesterday's closing price. IREN, same kind of deal. And then Tesla. So we're just going to be patient. See if we can hit that. You know, yesterday our number one trade was Apple, and we posted up 309 long yesterday. And oh boy, was that a good trade there right off the open. Here's our 309 area. Bang, up to 311. That was the number one trade there. And then out of nowhere, we found AMD at the end of the day. So, you know, you never know what's going to hit on the radar. But yeah, as predicted, here we come right back in on that Iran USO, you know, memo of understanding there by the two parties. We'll see if that winds up holding. But here comes AMD. Let's wait to see what happens at five bills again. I think it will come back in. It might come back in before the open even hits. So watch out for AMD. And then, yeah, man, I mean, you know, shout out to Chef Joe and everybody that's been, you know, really trading through a lot of this momentum on Micron. And you were talking about there, Chef Joe, I saw you in the chat, rolling forward contracts and whatnot. So, you know, congratulations on Micron, up another 7% here today. I can't believe you bought those 800 calls there for $3. I mean, now they must be worth a lot more. Let's call probably $150 or something. So that's a great little call there for Micron and the long, you know, maybe even get 1,000 long calls right now. Who knows what that's going to hit like? But yeah, it could be a down day, and if it is, man, we'll look for SOX L and SOX S trading as well, as it's been quite the adventurous movement for these guys from $50, $40 up to $250 right there in a month and a half for SOX L. So lots of stuff going on there as well. Thank you, Sean, for making us notice. Yeah, it's not just a news spike bottom there. Yeah, and those are the bottoms that we're looking for. So here's USO. Thank you for the nice, you know, comments there in the chat. But here comes USO, down 5 and a bit percentage points. Nice to see some relief at the pump, at least around here. I saw 176 or so, which is better per liter than it had been. So there's the move down in USO, finally taking out that 50-period moving average. Now let's wait. We love the 200 period here. And yesterday the only red name I had was USO. And we tried to go short right into here, and then it popped through and we were able to get out. So yesterday I tried to mess around with this and got caught up a little bit right there with some volume spikes. You know, was looking for a move down, did not happen. Today we are getting that. Let's see if the dollar is reacting, then we'll throw it back over to the big desk there. To traders smarter than I. There's the DXY right here. We'll go over and look at just quickly let's go to a 10-minute chart just to see. I don't need that advertising there. Okay, so there we go. So on that news, you're now getting that. This is why I called it up, right? We wanted to look at this. So there's the move down, right? So as the market comes up, dollar coming down there on a potential. And again, you know, if there is some sort of a solve here and a solution, then yeah, the dollar, you know, weakens a little bit as flight to safety is supposed to be US dollar, but you know, more money into equities, US dollar coming back down, making some levels here. So let's wait to see if that winds up holding. That could be a good indicator for our trade today. But it's omelet and I think sausage day. What do we see? Pastry day, something like that today.
That'll play.
It's quiche on Friday and I'm not here, so that's going to be good. But yeah, breakfast is here. We'll do what's for lunch soon. It's only 8:30. Right now. USO, good, 129.50, holding the bid. Hopefully it goes to the downside. Thanks, Joe, for all those you know, options talk, and we'll get some upgrades and downgrades soon with that as well. But yeah, you got to.
People in the chat are asking about another small capper that's running here, ASTC, which is Astrotech. They want to show you this. Board-approved strategic initiative focused on lunar resource development, autonomous lunar industrial infrastructure, and future moon-based advanced computing and semiconductor manufacturing opportunities. Now, if you were trying to put together a headline for a press release and you wanted to make sure you captured all of the themes that we're running right now, Astrotech, slow clap. Well done. absolutely perfectly done. I mean, you got it all. You got lunar, you've got autonomous, you've got industrial infrastructure, you got the moon, you got advanced computing, semiconductor manufacturing. You just managed to nail it all in one headline. They're up 150%. And look, I'm not saying you need to buy the stock. It's just, hey, sometimes you got to give credit where credit is due. Let's see if I can figure out. Usually I would have done this already instead of just reading the headline to you guys, just to see what's the float on this sucker. 1.7 million float. Well, that is not a very large float, and it's already done that. It's already done that like 4.5 times. So a big one. Well, in terms of movement, it's obviously a big one, but a rather small company there. But yeah, good on you, AstraTech. And we have some more updates on that, or more information on this story. Let's go to Adara.
I was going to say there, Neil, I was seeing on FinViz 1.4 million share floats. That float could be even smaller. Either way, it's like a pretty small difference, but I think either way it suggests that this float could make this name pretty wild. I was seeing a market cap as well of about 4.34 million, but obviously as this rallies, that is very, very subject to change. I think this short float there was around 5%. Let's talk about another name, though, in this lunar and space, for lack of a better term, because we have news, obviously, in Rocket Lab. We'll get to that in a second, but LUNR had a crash landing, you might say, yesterday after losing out this NASA, whatever you want to say here, lunar terrain vehicle contract.
Yeah, selected. Obviously, the market had been pricing in that they would.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, they weren't selected yesterday, so obviously the market had been pricing in that they would be at least competitive in the selection process. But as we saw this morning, a lot of it got bought right back up. So gives you an idea how strong the space sector is. Also, Rocket Labs, Firefly both have headlines today. We'll start with Rocket Labs. They successfully cleared a key program review for specifically here the U.S. Space Development Agency's tracking layer and its Tranche 3. So what are they doing? They're building satellite defense systems to warn against and track hypersonic missiles. This could not be more appropriate for the time. Why? Because we just saw the Russians absolutely decimate parts of Ukraine with hypersonic ballistic missiles. So this comes at a very pressing time. $3.5 billion here. The broader TRKT3 program is valued at over $3.5 billion. Designed to deploy 72 satellites in low Earth orbit. Part of that 3.5 billion, about 1.3 billion has been already issued to RKLB. They got 816 million in the last tranche. Prior to that, they had received 515. But also Adara, Firefly issuing some shares this morning. They offered a major secondary stock offering Tuesday evening, typically depresses the stock due to dilution as investors basically completely ignored that. Here's what their fundraising structure looks like. They're selling a combined 12 million shares. I'm talking about FLY, guys. So Firefly right now. To raise working capital. So they issued 4 million new shares, and then insiders from within the company sold about 8 million shares. So adding liquidity into the market, giving them some capital, much needed, Adara, to build out the next generation.
Yeah, we know Firefly also benefited from those NASA announcements yesterday, too. So good look for FLY, though. As Neil mentioned yesterday, FLY move wasn't anywhere near close to the move down that we got on LUNR. So, I mean, stairs up, escalator down. I want to mention, too, because I'm seeing some people in the chat and on social media mention this. Robinhood last night announced this agentic trading overview. Now, I'm seeing some reports on this now, suggesting even more so that this is basically your AI agent can trade for you. That is, again, according to what I've read here of this press release, that seems more or less to be the case. Now, apparently, you're still going to have oversight of it, but basically, you can connect a third-party AI agent. This is according to the press release, which, again, I'm only seeing reported on now, which is kind of odd, but you can connect Claude Code, ChatGPT, Codex, Cursor, etc., and then agentic AI trading available through Robinhood. So interesting look, and I think something I wanted to quickly mention here, guys. I don't know if Hood's necessarily going to be in play today, but yeah, these space names certainly are, guys.
Yeah, well, for Firefly, it needed to hold. I mean, it basically has to hold here. I shouldn't say it has to hold here, but this is where it was bouncing in the afternoon, around the 58.5, 59 area. It's been selling. It's sold off almost like 7 or 8% already in the pre-market to only be up 2. So it's one of the weaker ones out there. There's one bounce zone and one bounce zone only. And then we already mentioned Lunar. If there's one that I think can be maybe like a pop and fade, I think it would be LUNR. Rocket Lab looks a little bit better. It was between that and IRN today, and I kind of liked the chart on IRN just a little bit better. It wasn't gapping as far. But as far as fly goes, it's going to be about the 58.5 to 59. You got to break this down. And even forget that, like you got to break this downtrend. Some of these names are really getting sold off more than others. And just to give you an idea, I'm not saying Rocket Lab isn't selling off too. It's just one of these is a little bit more steep than the other. So let Fly calm down 100%. And when it comes to Lunar, a pop to either 40 VWAP, you've got the prior day. It's not the prior day low because it got destroyed in the afternoon, but if you look at the opening range bottom at 41 even, that gives you another level to look at if this one even tries to get off of the ground again. Like the stock, but I feel like this one could easily be the sell-off.
Yeah, so we looked at, yesterday I looked at RKQ, and remember we talked about the autonomous robotics side of this, and then I actually just was using Gemini there, but these are the top names in this ETF. So, okay, there it is. The top 15 holdings here: Tesla, AMD, Teradyne, Rocket Lab. There's Kratos, your defense. There's Alphabet, Palantir, Deere, Amazon, L3 Harris, Lunar, right there as well. NVIDIA, AV, and more notable, Caterpillar. Like, I really like this ETF. Joby is in here. Aurora, a name that we don't talk about enough. So, this is something else that we could definitely have a look at. The RKQ up another 2% and literally breaking through big levels there. So, as I said, I'm getting a little excited for the IPO and SpaceX. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to sit here and trade. You guys know we try to put some risk on for those opportunities. But I wrote down here on the sticky note, and I've already showed this to you guys, is that I like Rocket Lab today just to see where we wind up going. And by the way, as promised, futures all the way back to where that news story started. So I'm going to look at Rocket Lab, and I think you just stay in the space. We got that story from Lunar yesterday where they were selected. They were not selected. Amazon got it. That's sent a little bit of a move down to that name. I'm not going to look at Lunar today, but I will look over at RKLB, and I just want to see this 146. That was the area that I wrote down. It was sort of yesterday's top. So if we can't hold that, then we get out. And we're already down. I mean, we write that note down, around 8 o'clock or a little bit earlier than that. And there's the push back down into 151. So we're going to have to wait to see if 146 comes into play. I believe there is a good chance of that coming through. So I do like Rocket Lab down there at those prices. Let's go over to the big screen with upgrades and downgrades and Joseph.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off, as we typically do, with some downgrades. Zscaler at the top of the list. But at the bottom of these charts, guys, down 24% here today, but still holding an outperform rating by BMO Capital. But we're going to be slashing that price target from $210 to $178. Workday down about 1.6% with a neutral weight rating, guys. B of A giving them a $140 price target. Now, Dollar General down about 2.33%, going from a buy to a hold with a $110 price target by Deutsche Bank. And then we also have Westlake Group here, guys, down a little bit less than a percent here, but going from a buy to a neutral and reducing its price target from $125 to $95 at Citi. Moving forward, we're going to take a look at some more positive things. At the top of the list, we have MGM Resorts up 3.3%, but going from a hold to a buy. And then also Truist increasing its price target from $42 to $55. FedEx also getting the nod this morning, going from you're up 1.8% here, but going from a neutral weight to an overweight, and then about a $28 price target increase from $432 to $460 by JP Morgan. Now SanDisk up another 3% here, guys, going from equal weight to overweight, and a price target from $1,200 all the way up to $2,300. So there's almost a double there by Barclays. And then we also have Marvell, yes, up another 7% here, Sean, going from a hold to a buy with a $300 price target by HSBC. Let's send it back to the boys.
Marvell, okay, I'll have to check that stock out. Made an interesting one there, moving higher. But this dollar store, I don't know. Like Dollar General, we've talked about some of the, potential worries in this market. I like to trade down into the dollar store if there is a problem financially. I don't I don't know. Like I'm worried about the tariffs there. I don't know if anything was resolved there with China, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Hopefully they can withstand. I mean, a lot of the products obviously coming over from China, I would say, there for the dollar stores, at least around here anyways. This is a nice move down. You're starting to break lower. They get the downgrade here today. I think this breaks $100, and then, you know, even get into 95, and then even after that, you know, you still have more downside. I don't like this is just a level there. Did this switch over? It must have switched from New York. I don't know what happened there, but anyways, nice moves downside there for Dollar General, and you can see it's really been taken to the cleaners here as more people are investing in, you know, these sort of techie names, and obviously not into retail. And that's where, like, look, I haven't pulled the trigger on Walmart yet, and I don't know if I will. You know, I called the 115 a while ago on this miss, and it's not like calling a level. It's just looking around and saying, oh yeah, Walmart definitely switched from New York to NASDAQ, and they got that false bump, of course, because they got included into the NASDAQ. But right into here, that's 117. You actually might be at a spot right now. 115 is your 200 period moving average, so that's a little bit of an area to look at. I like, you know, like I was saying, the trade down. I'm still in target, which is kind of funny that this is going upside. And I don't know what it's doing today, but it's not falling the same way that a Walmart is or a Dollar General is. And again, like a little bit of a higher price point consumer for Target, that doesn't make any sense to me. I thought that, you know, people might be shopping at more of a Walmart than a Target-based. Costco also, you know, continues to do well. But okay, here's 4 straight days to the downside. Costco just took out all-time highs last week. So that was a huge move. Look at this. This is a pretty good recovery to the downside there. So I would say that was a nice move. I don't know sort of what sparked that, but then all the way back in. Maybe see, like, I'd rather buy a Costco in this area now that I see this than any of those other names. So Costco is interesting to me. Walmart, not so much. I don't think this is a falling knife that right now I'm willing to catch, but, you know, willing to dump some money into this. I think at 115 might be reasonable. You guys know that I've been selling. So if you're going to sell something up, you know, 300-400%, in AMD's case, 650%, you know, why not try to throw something back into a name that could get going at some point? Walmart, you know, you can sleep safe at night, not thinking that this name is going to be up or down 5% the very next morning. So Walmart, a good little take for me. And then, you know, yesterday, kind of the same thinking of Walmart, a P&G. I like that name, more international exposure there, brand loyalty and whatnot with Procter & Gamble, also at good levels where I think you can pick it up. Typical dividend, you know, reinvestor, like Procter and like Walmart, starting to like Walmart a little bit more at these levels, but I'm still going to wait for 115.
Kind of safer from the AI pullback is a couple of those names. And don't sleep on FedEx too, right? Like it's the first. On the first, they're spinning off, if you own shares of FedEx, then I think for every 2 shares of FedEx, you'll get 1 of FedEx Freight, which is just going to be FDXF. Keep it pretty simple there. But that just made an all-time high break now. Like, it's literally breaking out now. You have to wonder, is some of that because of the spin-off? So that'll be in a couple of sessions. You'll have these guys going. And if it does, like, this is the kind of stock, if it doesn't pull back, you can buy those dips. So if there is a pullback coming because of the spin-off, it could be a nice little buying opportunity coming through in FedEx. You know, so it'll be as of the 1st anyway. So as of Monday, FDXF will start trading. And there's been some pretty successful spin-offs. Like GE's has been fantastic. I mean, let's just pretend that GE Healthcare doesn't exist, but you know, GE Aerospace and GE Vernova were fantastic when they did the spinoff. I think in the case of FedEx, this one's been winning and been crushing relative to UPS recently. So just watch out. You could see some pullback after the 1st comes in here and they get that spin-off, but that could just be a nice little buying opportunity for FedEx. And they caught an upgrade, which, you know, makes a little bit of sense the way the stock has been going. The NASDAQ, though, coming back in just a little bit. It's USO barely moved off of the bottoms. It's still only about 130, but the NASDAQ's starting to come back in. Remember, the chips were not participating in that move to the upside. You've now got MU down at 950. Like, they weren't bouncing at all. A little bit of a better hold up in some of, maybe not. Like, IREN was doing okay. And now that's back underneath the volume weighted average price. Still going to be above the prior double top. So I like clear resistance to try to turn support. This one has more runway if it's going to be able to catch a bid. So in here, 61 to 61.5, if that falls any further there on IREM. And Pillsbury likes GE. Yeah, that's been a good stock too. Like, there's so many, you know, we talk so much about the chip names, and there's a lot that we don't really even get into. And I know, obviously, GE Vernova has been fantastic since the spinoff, but there was something we were mentioning with Brian about long consolidations being good. It's not the end of the world, especially if you have them to the upside, like an upward trending stock that puts in a long consolidation. Like, look at GE here. Like, is this not trying to break back out? This can take 320. Like, it's been taking a little bit of time off. It's back above both major moving averages. It's settled down a bit, and it's had a pretty good rally into a potential break. And maybe this one can get going a little bit more. And if you don't like Boeing, and these guys give you some, GE Aerospace gives you some defense exposure as well, and allows you to play in the aerospace industry. It's just another quality company out there that's worked. And then you happen to get the benefit, if you owned it, of getting GE Vernova price back in the day. Can't do that anymore, that's for sure. All right, we'll throw it back up to the desk. Lots to watch. The market back into VWAP, but remember, this is just where we were when that story hit. Like, we're not low. It's not like we're lower than when the Iran story hit.
Yeah, ahead of doing this rundown here, it's going to start soon, guys. Just 6 minutes to go until 9 a.m. Let's talk about some of these retail earnings, because we had quite a few retail names reporting earnings before the bell. Of course, PDD, that was a double miss, not pure retail, but I'll mention this here. But BBWY, we had Dick's Sporting Goods. You also had the likes of A&F. I mean, which of these do you want to talk about today?
Yeah, I'm going to cover Dick's here, Dara. So revenue beat, easy there. Inline adjusted EPS, but selling off a little bit here as a result of the forward guide. And there's a reason why that forward guide was a little weak. But let's talk about the good before we talk about the bad. So we saw that total sales jumped up aggressively, 62.5% year over year. Not because the company is some special thing. No, it's because of the acquisition of Foot Locker. So adding basically Foot Locker sales in addition to the Dick's sales, which it acquired back in 2025. Underreported, though, is that Foot Locker just flipped positive when you're talking about comparable growth. It was up, more light here, 0.6% for the first time in years, though. And the real reason behind that is Dick's has this new sort of testing called fast break store model reconcept. And when you look at those specific stores, they're all doing quite well as compared to the other stores that weren't upgraded. So something to keep in mind there. But the combined businesses swallowed a painful profitability hit. So the consolidated operating margins collapsed aggressively from 11.5% to 8.7%. Well, why is that? Because Foot Locker's margins are really, really bad, especially as compared to the higher relative margins for Dick's. So the combined, took a bit of a hit here. Now, there's also a problem with guidance. And what is that problem? Well, they're holding on to record inventory levels. In fact, merchandise inventory bloated 52% year over year. So the company's saying, look, we don't want to mark these down and take a hit on EPS and margins. So what we're going to do is we're going to be quite conservative with our guide. We're going to try to move these products at full price so we don't have to take the hit. We'll see if they can do that. Last but not least, there's insider selling here. DKS corporate insiders have executed about $42.5 million worth of insider selling in the open market in about, I think, the 30 days leading up to earnings. So something to be on alert there.
Yeah, other retail earnings here, as mentioned, guys, BBWI with a double beat, though revenue declined. PDD as well in China here with that double miss. Zscaler to be discussed on the rundown. But how are you guys feeling about any of these retail names today?
I'm not hungry for Dick's Sporting Goods as a trade today. I'm liking this omelet, though. It's pretty tasty. But
you're so nasty. Yeah, for me,
every single time they report, I'm contractually obligated to do. No, it's actually
not contractually
obligated. When you think about it, who cares? When you think about it, the Foot Locker thing. So what? They're gonna get dinged for that. We knew that Foot Locker had worse margins. You knew this combination was coming. So I wonder how much you should really hold that against these guys. It seemed like it can seem a little bit unfair, but it is what it is. And if they don't like where this is headed after the combination, then I don't know why it was rallying. I don't know why it was rallying in the first place if this is going to be too much of a concern. But I think you got to just. I don't think you trade this one today. You can see someone was selling the sucker at 230 to 235 anyway, so there's probably a wait and buy it. Like this is a store that almost everyone I know that's in the U.S. swears by them and loves them, but it's also a stock which has been in this long can you even call it a bull flag if it goes on for 2 years? I don't know. Maybe you can't. But it's been in this very, very long consolidation without a breakout that's been telling you either buy the dips, value under $200, or allow it to break out. So I think they're fine. Things like that, things like this, like what do we do? Like, how long have we known about this Foot Locker deal? How long has anyone been able to look at the numbers for this? So I do question how much this should pull back. And overall, it had been rallying anyways, and they seem to like the combination for most of the time that it was rallying. So I think you just wait and you buy the dip here, because I think they'll be absolutely fine. Like, this is I'm in Walmart. Like, my only retail stocks are like Walmart and technically, Amazon's a retail company, so I guess they count for sure. But if I was gonna buy another, you know what? I actually think it would be Dick's Sporting Goods if I was going to buy another retail name, but I would be waiting for it to get down to $200 or so.
Yeah, I think that going with that every time we're in the States, we're always looking to get into that store. I mean, it's a great one, and I just don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the retail side of things right now. It's funny that we went to retail. I just talked about 4 or 5 retail names before that story, but Lululemon today, catching it. We do have, it's on our watch list there today, so if I actually open it up and actually read what's going on with Lululemon today, we have that Chip Wilson owning, here it is right here, owning 7, here, let me just, Open Door just getting inclusion into the Russell 3000 index there, something like that?
Really?
Okay, so where is it? Here it is. Lululemon, right now trading higher pre-market volume. This is part of our watch list. You can go get that watch list on our link in description. No doubt about that. There, so they have come up with agreement. 8.7% of Lululemon's outstanding stock. New board members coming on board there. Former CMO, whatever that stands for, of ESPN, marketing officer there, and CEO of On. Okay, that's interesting there as well. Obviously On shoes, maybe not On semiconductors. I wish maybe that was the case. But yeah, so we're going to watch out for Lululemon. I do think it fades back out. Doesn't seem like that interesting of a story to me. But hopefully we can break above this 133 and keep on going. There's the market. As soon as that story was hit, I should have just gone short the futures. We said, hey, this is just going to come right back in, and that is what it's doing. I've set up the alerts already right now for all of the stocks that I'm looking at. So we're going to be alerted every single time Tesla comes near this 436, the Qs gets down there, Rocket Labs gets to 146, and Iron gets to $61. So we're going to be ready to rock and roll today. It's 9:01. Let's go start talking about Micron, most likely, on our rundown, or other names. Zscaler's had a nice move here in the pre-market for what appears to be not a horrible report. I think Zscaler is actually coming back. All right, I'm not going to go over them all. Let's go to the rundown. 28 minutes until this market opens.
All right, guys, 750.5 is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. Recall, we spoke very clearly about that 750, that $10 area as the main area of resistance. We're above it right now by almost $2, 751 3/4. We're up 0.15. I don't know if we've cleared 750 decisively enough, but we'll say that that's going to be support level number 1. If we start selling off, we're looking at 745, I should say, as support level 2. It is a blue sky setup from here, meaning if you're a newer trader, we've never been above these levels, so we don't have any resistance levels to block us. So we're just going to say 755 Adira as that next level of resistance.
Whatever resistance or support you're looking at, definitely make sure to grab the Trader TV Live watch list. It is free. It goes right to your inbox. It has earnings. It has economic data. It has things that are happening, things that have happened, things that will be happening that day, things to be aware of and to watch out for. So where else will you be? Just check us out here every single day, Trader TV Live, and grab that free Trader TV Live watch list. And Sean, if there was a prize for guessing what the first name on the watch list would be, and even the second here on the rundown, you would win it, because Zscaler is going to be coming up next, but Micron and these memory names. We talked about that SanDisk upgrade, but MU does not want to stop here, Sharif.
No, and it got an upgrade today, as we spoke about in the beginning. Barclays raising the price target to 1175 from 675. That's a 74% bump on that number with an overweight rating. We spoke, at length about the cyclicality of memory in the past and how, basically there's a price floor now using these long-term agreements. So Micron, probably see 1,000 by today, guys. We'll keep an eye out on this one.
You guys like MU here? Before we send you back as well, I really quickly want to mention this Open Door story again, because I looked into this. Usually when you get these index announcements. They come from the index themselves. In this case, Open Door announced this and then said, you'll get more info from the Russell on May 29th. So interesting look here, guys. I wonder if the announcement's going to be properly happening here on May 29th. Either way, apparently, according to Open Door, this is part of the Russell's annual reconstitution for 2026. This is the Russell 3000.
Yeah, the Russell reconstitution. I mean, like the Russell will announce, like they announced that they're gonna get SpaceX in right away because people care about SpaceX. Like the only reason why you wouldn't have seen probably an official announcement on Open Door, it's Open Door. And it's nothing against them. It's just the reality. Like when they do the list of like all of the big changes, you'll usually get that disseminated a couple of weeks before. That's the norm. So you'll see it all start to come out there. But I guess Open Door wanted to make sure that they got that positive news. Everybody. Fine, congratulations to them. Hopefully it doesn't do the whole sell event when they get in there at the end of next month. For Micron, you'd like to see it get it back above the 50, but if memory serves, not intended, we've seen so many times where you get that 1 trillion marker and then you start to see a little bit of profit taking. Like you got the gap up, it got the further continuation. I don't wonder if it doesn't retest the trillion mark coming back in here. So I'm like to me, Micron's like a stay away. But if it does, if we do get a trend down, let's just say we lose VWAP in here, I feel like a place to look for this is going to be like DRAM. You don't have to worry about the spread and the price, and it's going to move, well, not as much, but it's been moving pretty precipitously as well. So if there's a downtrend here where we can't hold into VWAP, and you just have a very, very clear, okay, lower high, then I think DRAM would be the place that I'm going to go. But that 1 trillion mark, it works in both ways. It's a great ramp spot. But when you break it, the retest, I feel, is something that has happened on at least a few names on the way to the upside, anecdotally, that I can remember. So I'll be looking for maybe like some kind of a downtrend. If it breaks it, great. But DRAM would be the way that I would look at it here if you're looking for something which isn't quite as crazily priced, and then you're playing the entire space and not worrying about like just one individual name. Because this is a sentiment play as far as I can see.
Yeah, we had SK Hynix yesterday taking that $1 trillion club, so that's a good one there. Joining Micron yesterday, one of the top names. Look, I'm going to go with Marvell here today. As I told the girls hockey team that I design, this is the Nike Customizer. I mean, this is one of the sickest things. I have custom Air Force Ones. I'm not wearing them today, but you could design them. Their colors are yellow and blue, so trying to design some warm-up shoes for them. Of course, can always spend more money. It's pretty cool. Like you can even just like click on here and then figure out, okay, look, I want to change, the tongue there, or you can change whatever colors you want. Ooh, okay. All right, my guy over here. Yeah, those look pretty fire over there right now. Okay, the Nikes. All right, I like that yellow. We'll see about that. They have a little warm-up shoes that they do on their dry land before every game, and all the time, of course. So there it is. I don't know. I offer these things up to do. I don't know if I'll be the DJ this year. It takes too much time, and I don't enjoy the game as much when I'm DJing. But 219 there. Watch out for Marvell slipping up a little bit. Heading into earnings tonight, it's just been such an explosive name. I mean, this was 170, and I'm glad it's hopefully in a lot of your portfolios as we made this pick back in June 12th, and we've been buying it, all last year as well. But Marvell, just part of the story here, as a lot of you have great stories with Micron, with SanDisk, with all these Rocket Labs of the world and everything like that. My story is Marvell, and it just keeps on ticking higher. A little nervous hands heading into the report, but I think it's a pretty simple trade here today. I think you try to go short if it does break that 219. The only problem is it's going to do it right off the open. Like, there's the market. I didn't think the market would come all the way back in and actually turn red from that news story, but that's exactly what's happening right now as it's just pushing lower and lower. I thought that was a fugaze, and it looks like it is right back there into VWAP. So maybe we get our TQs a little bit lower there right now. But there's the breakdown. So they either like it or they don't, or they like it or they don't. So it's very simple. I think you can play the breakout here, 222 long, if that goes. I'm a little more hesitant on the short because I really think this short could fill almost immediately off the open, and then I'll be like, well, I missed it, which is fine by me. The spread on Marvell, like I've been trading it, and just like yesterday with AMD, The fact that we had to go back and forth with AMD for a while is because the spread opened up 60, 70, 80 cents when it starts to move. So if you're playing with small amounts of shares, it's one thing. You can definitely hold something $1, $2, $3 against you. But you're gonna have to lower your shares a little bit if you're gonna have stops the way I do, because you could get a $3 wick higher just because the spread opens up and people panic, and then my algo punches me out. So you have to be very aware of the liquidity crunch and potential vacuums. And I think Marvell, if it does break lower, the vacuum is there. You might try to punch 19s and maybe even get 18s or maybe even miss. So that's how much I think this is gonna, excuse me, this is gonna open up. So we're gonna watch out for 218.50 right there off the open. That could be the break short. And then for sure, some covering at 216.50 if you get it. But Marvell, earnings tonight. Snow, Marvell, Salesforce. It's definitely a big night for some of these chip and software names.
And if you think you know where those are going, good luck. But if you know where Bitcoin might close, or if you know where GDP is going to end up, maybe you have an idea what's going to happen in some recent upcoming elections. Well, don't argue about it and trade it. Gemini predictions have yes or no markets on crypto, commodities, sports, politics, and much more. Now featuring 15-minute and 5-minute crypto markets, so you can trade all of the action in real time. You can set your amounts, you can see your odds, and get paid when you're right. Open an account at Gemini.com or scan the QR code for more information. Shout out to them. Maybe you have an idea where Zscaler is going to go today and you want to trade that, as they got shellacked. I guess, yeah, double-digit, well over double-digit growth, not good enough here.
Let's talk here about Zscaler, because ZS, big time to the downside. The semiconductor cybersecurity earnings season is always a little bit later than some of these other earnings names. ZS, I believe, the first big cybersecurity name of this season, and they are downside in a big way despite a mostly solid report and pretty good guidance overall.
Yeah, it was decent guidance, Adair. You're not wrong on that. But what really caught my attention was the Capex here, and unbudgeted Capex. That's what took the market by surprise. In fact, their free cash flow margins quietly dropped from 18% down to 16%, and that Capex is to basically meet more server demand for the AI build-out. They're unspared as well in terms of a sector for Capex, but there's also a leadership exodus here, specifically sales leadership. Lots of big names at the company. You know, this B2B company obviously are leaving, and that's causing a little bit of concern whether they'll be able to meet sales targets. And they were very quick to kind of tout their $6.5 billion RPO, remaining performance obligations. But if you dig a little deeper, those are all very long-dated RPOs and unlikely to be realized anytime soon. So analysts and institutional desks a little bit concerned with that because things could change. And then their core business model, right? You know how they do this. They have basically, it's a software as a service, a SaaS business, and they typically charge per user. So if the company's got 500 users, they've got 500 different licenses right there that Zscaler gets. But we've seen aggressive corporate layoffs, especially with the hyperscalers, and that's dropping the per head count. So Zscaler's trying to adjust their model here to get away from this per head basis to what they're calling a zero trust everywhere non-user modules. We'll dig into that possibly on the midday show. And then last but not least, major quantitative funds are aggressively dumping or aggressively dumped the stock ahead of earnings. For example, FMR LLC slashed more than 50% of its holdings before the print. Likewise with Federated Homes, completely gutted 90% of their holdings on Zscaler, down to about $150 million total. So institutional, specifically quantitative funds, I want to make that very clear. We're getting rid of this ahead of the print, Adara.
Yeah, interesting look there for ZS. I quickly want to mention, too, JP Morgan on Watch's Jamie Dimon, CEO, says this year expenses could be higher. Back to you.
So it's a notoriously expensive space, right? And it always has been. So, you know, like maybe you're going to get this one where it gets to the point where it's cheap enough to justify things. At this point, it doesn't seem like it. It didn't really pull back. Like if CrowdStrike were down 20%, then I'd be in there buying. It's not CrowdStrike. It's not Palo Alto, unfortunately. Lots of places are looking a little bit better. Maybe we can hold the 50 period at the end of the day, and that looks a little bit better at the end of the week because you want to give it a couple of days to go. It is firmly, like as far down as it is, it's almost always going to be in that SSR bounce territory. The only problem is it just bounced $7 off the lows. And it's literally at its pre-market high as the market's breaking down under VWAP. So I don't wonder if that trade's already gone. Like the little, it tries to break the low and then it bounces. You're already seeing it. It just did another spike in here. So unless it does one of the false breaks of 140 or now this low at 137, like I had 35 sort of written down as the closest even number to look for an SSR bounce, but it's already giving you that bounce off of the low. So that trade, it might be gone. Maybe you get a little flash down at the open and you can see something like that little V shape or that bottoming tail candle again. It seems like it's already made its low here on Zscaler. And it would have been nice. Like I wouldn't mind if the other names had gotten, some sympathy to the downside a little further so you could pick them up on value. But even that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was going to go, like I said, I should have put CrowdStrike or Palo Alto on the note here today, and shout out to T-Money. Yeah, I was just saying I hope someone made some money on that call on the short because I didn't short anything. So yeah, forget about that tick up higher. CrowdStrike down 3% I think is a little bit of a gift here. It's been doing obviously quite outstanding since we broke through that 400, 450 level. Nice dip by. There's, I guess it was right there. That's 550. Most recent top, 550 to 650, almost in a straight line. Now we'll have to wait to see if that pullback is real. I think it's even worth nibbling. I mean, we bought IBM a little bit higher, averaged into it. Our CrowdStrike price is obviously lower than where it is now, as this is at highs. So I think this is worth averaging into. I really think that the whole space, Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, all of these names, you could get into SCIBR, Cyber. This is a good ETF for the names as well. There's many different ones out there. There's Bug, there's Cyber, there's Palo Alto, I think, is as an individual stock. We just talked about it. But yeah, play the pullback here. These guys could get bought out as well. Zscaler could get bought out by a Cisco or by Oracle or something like that as well at some point with their market valuation where it is, especially if they stay a little low like that. So here we go, Cyber ETF. Get them all in your portfolio immediately. With the way this world's going, we've seen already, although AVAV's gotten punked, you see them and Palantir still heading to the downside. Like, there's going to be some time where these names start to pick back up again. So, with defense spending, I still think that there's a spot in your portfolio for a defensive name, which would be, honestly, these security stocks. I mean, just coming into play there, foreign hackers and whatnot, get going. Palantir down another 1.7% today. I really like the space. I think you got to buy some cybersecurity if you don't own any, and today might be a good day to do that. And you could even pick on Zscaler, take a little bit of longs in there and get some alpha back into your portfolio. ASTC broke.
Adam James abroad. So you had two super chats. One of them was the 750 break on ASTC, and then the 750 break. Please come on, and then letting us know that you did mention it before. So look, we have a lot to get to. We did mention ASTC hitting basically every single thing you would want in their press release to get the algos going today. They threw Lunar in there. They threw chip manufacturing. They had a little bit of everything for them. But yeah, 220%. It looks like it did break that 450. A little bit of a turnaround at 8. You just be careful with these, right? Like when you're profiled like this, rally's good, but you always want to make sure that you pay yourself out. There have been multiple times where it's had a one-day move, effectively. Like sometimes it'll hold up a little bit for the next day, but how many of these spikes don't have their top on the first day? Like you've got here in August of 2024, and almost every other one, the high gets made on day one, with one exception on all these spikes. The high made on day one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, call it 6 and now 7 big spikes. All but one of them made their high on day one. I'm not saying that's going to be the case here, but hey, the stock has a bit of a history, these small cappers. So make sure you ring the register at some point. I mean, usually that's what you want to do in these. Congratulations there on ASTC. Let's talk about some Tesla. Hey, there's another space tie-in.
Let's go.
Tesla plus SpaceX. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here with just weeks to go until SpaceX is expected to debut via IPO. Some more rumblings and speculation that these companies could merge, Sharif.
Absolutely, Adira. There's a couple of reasons why they're going to market now. We'll get to that at the end. But just want to remind everyone that Tesla previously made a $2 billion investment into XAI venture. And then following the merger between XAI and SpaceX, that XAI equity was automatically converted into direct SpaceX shares, and they're held on Tesla's corporate balance sheet. So already financial ties between the company. One would expect that. Anyway, but Terafab, that's the real reason that we're speculating that these two are going to merge. So the primary drive of the merger isn't synergy. It's shared computing constraints. SpaceX's S1 filing revealed that XAI operations, or its AI operations, I should say, burned $2.5 billion just in Q1 of this year alone, pushing its total accumulated deficit to $41.3 billion. So to stop paying these massive sums to the NVIDIAs, to the Microns, to everybody else involved in the AI stack and the chip making, they're looking at doing it alone. So we're going to have to see how quickly they can build out Terafab. That's going to be their fabrication plant to build semiconductors. But let's also talk about the sovereign wealth angle here when it comes to SpaceX investment. So highly sensitive sovereign wealth funds, specifically from the Gulf, okay, and that plays into this, have built massive multi-billion-dollar private stakes in SpaceX, and the transition to a public NASDAQ listing forces the disclosure of these sovereign state capital positions. Now, some of them may be a little bit dicey depending on, what side of the political spectrum you fall. But the point is, Tesla basically wants to wrap up their involvement in the company. So essentially what they're going to do is they're going to sell their positions once this thing is in the open market and then possibly have the two merge. Why is that? Because there's a lot of regulated parts to the SpaceX business that you don't necessarily want foreign investors in. Obviously, the rocket business, the low Earth orbit satellites, all that is very regulated and, really doesn't look kindly upon having money from the Gulf in that space, Adara.
Okay. Interesting look here for TSLA. How do you guys like it for a stock today?
I liked it long yesterday. But it was different because it was like a breakout trade through the high early, and then it was like a break the trend kind of trade after that. So I think we're starting off in the other direction, like starting off with a look for the break the trend. As long as it can hold 435, that's the prior high. So dipped into the prior high, and then trend breaks back into the upside. And let's worry about the 12th when we get to the 12th. Right, because if you think about not just the biggest IPO ever coming out to the market, it's just the size of it and scope is so gigantic that there needs to be selling to get funds to go into this, and that's going to cause potentially some value. If enough other things get sold off to go into SpaceX, you could end up finding some value there as well. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For today on Tesla, just going to look pull back into prior highs.
Yeah, look, Tesla's the #1 stock. I'm talking to Zane here. He wants to send me Jacobs. I said, no way. All right, so we'll go bang on that one. Tesla right there, 436 long, is going to be the #1 trade idea for me there today, pulling right back into this level of 436. I trade Tesla pretty much every single day. And today we get a story, again, and you've just mentioned it there. We'll see what that means for SpaceX and their shareholders. And then for Tesla and their shareholders, I'm pretty sure SpaceX best day will be its birthday, and then it will just come crashing back in, and that's not going to be good for Tesla stock, but eventually that's going to be a screaming buy. It's just how many days in do we have to worry about? I sort of called a little bit of a top of the market on that June 12th. I need to do some work and see how I can play that exactly with my portfolio. Maybe just grab some VIX or some sort of a put somewhere on the Qs there, because I do think that there's going to be a problem. But for now, pull back in for Tesla, 436, buy zone for me. It's #1 trade idea. The notes are already set, the alerts are in. So when that triggers, we're going to go long there on Tesla. It has huge moves off the open, every day, and sometimes you have no idea what that means for the rest of the day. It's a hard one sometimes to hold for those monster moves because you don't really know if, you catch the long there, how much are we going to go, and then 5 minutes later you're out of the money. This has happened to me millions of times on Tesla, but at the same time, it will give you buy or sell zones, right? I mean, yesterday you could have been a seller or a buyer of Tesla and won on both of them. I don't know if you short that area because you don't know where it's going to stop, but definitely at 3 o'clock you would think about going short into previous highs, so that would have worked. And then even here, these longs get squashed right there, but does this long get squashed? So you have to sort of try to look and pick your spots here for Tesla. For me, I've already picked it. We're waiting at 436. Probably get long immediately off the open is what I'm thinking might happen. We do right now have size on New York names. There's Space.
Redwire.
You know, that's been going good. Yeah, Redwire. We got a couple super chats as well. There's one for you from Nick W.
Yeah, Nick Dubs, you like the look of SMR and MDC, DCAing. Yeah, well, I like the chart too. Want to buy long dated 65 strike, January 20. It gives you plenty of time on MP at 63. Look, look, you know I already like MP. It's just in a long consolidation. I think you got to wait for this. End Iran, they can focus on China, and then you can worry about the next leg for them. But as far as SMR goes, someone was asking about AVAV, the breaking trend. SMR is, it's already broken trend. It's just putting in that little higher low. The consolidation you're hoping for has now happened, and it's back above the 50 period. So it just did that today to gap above the 50 period on SMR. So this is now, for me, looking like that reload that we wanted. And it's, like I said, it's very similar to AVAV, which is finally, I won't bother. Oh, I did draw a trend line. Okay, well, there you go. I wasn't gonna redraw it, but just so you can see, this is finally breaking out on the, just got to the 50 period for the first time, kind of tagging it today in a while, but it's broken that bottom of the trend. So both those names I do now like. Doesn't mean they're day trades though. NVIDIA, with 5 minutes to go, yikes. If there was something that was not looking as good as the others already, it was NVDA.
Keep an eye here on NVDA, and we have to talk about this man right here, Jensen Huang, because he's making some comments about Taiwan and about the company's market cap in 3 to 5 years that definitely deserve to be discussed here.
Yeah, Dara, a $500 billion Taiwan commitment, kind of reinforcing that supply chain confidence and narrative that we've been talking about. So he signaled long-term confidence in Taiwan, saying NVIDIA plans to spend roughly $500 billion there annually, guys, not on a one-time basis, annually, with Taiwanese suppliers already up from a massive $100 billion a year that they're already spending there. Effectively, a public vote of confidence in Taiwanese semiconductor ecosystem, obviously TSMC, the king of the bunch. Strategically, this matters because NVIDIA is telling the market its AI infrastructure build-out remains aggressive, and that supply chain concentration risk is something management is willing to live with. So I don't think this is a bad problem to have. Let's see how they trade on the day.
Yeah, one note on Taiwan Semi as well, because this is up quite sharply. Bloomberg reporting that C.C. Wei, CEO of TSM, has said that Taiwan-based employees can see profit-sharing payouts rise by more than 30% on a year-over-year basis. So nice look there for TSM as well. How are you guys feeling about these chip stocks today?
Let NVIDIA get down. Let it get to the 50-period moving average. Let it get to $200. Fine by me. It'll be cheaper from valuation, and that'll be a place to buy. I actually looked at this one on my iPad. I had 218.5 written down as a fade zone on NVIDIA. I don't know that you're getting up there today. So this is going to end up being a pass for me, and only because, I guess, well, we're not talking about IREN in the rundown. It is what it is. But IREN's similar to Tesla with the gap up. I'll just like this one pull back in a prior high. It did pull back under VWAP, but 61 to 61.5 will be that zone to look for the dip buy. But it'll be a pass for me on NVIDIA, unless we get a crazy move up. Maybe if we do, then yeah, that 218.50, I'd be thinking the other way, thinking fade.
Yeah, just to talk about that as well. I mean, I don't know. I guess we have the same ideas today. There's IREN 61 area long. We tried to buy that down there at 45. We just missed it. We got CEG instead, which is starting to get back to the upside there. Rocket Lab and TQs. Maybe we're getting a little bit closer to the TQQ area now as we start to fall back in. And this area just, you know, I still got $1 to go. I'm still waiting. I don't have any bids yet, but again, I do have them ready to go if it does hit down there. We want to get alerted first. There's $82 on the NASDAQ, so I actually have the alert at 82.25. So we'll see if that comes in there. Maybe take a little bit of a fill downside there on the NASDAQ as, yeah, it's pushing lower. We don't have too many numbers out today, so if we go over into our mail and check out our research page, we have coming out no numbers at all. Fed's Cook speaks at 3, and then later tonight, Goolsby. So there's nothing going on at all today, so we'll have to wait to see if the NASDAQ wants to continue to fade out. And like I said before, that little bump up there, I just wish I you know, I said this is coming back in. We got to short this thing, but I didn't realize this much. This is getting to be pretty dramatic now, as the imbalances have now hit at 925, and you can see here not too many Nasdaq names. There's our Rocket Lab trying to get hit. That's on the list down here at 146, so that could hit right away as well. And then we watch out for Tesla coming back in as well. No, not really. Tesla's actually going to the upside there. Then maybe there is.
I think there was it
buy
flashed
imbalance
to buy
or
and then
something.
paired.
Yeah, but so still moving around there. Wolf, Terra Wolf, wow, another $26 marker. I was talking with this one guy at Hockey, and he was telling me about this at $17 not that long ago down here, looking for it to break out. And man, I messaged him yesterday. What a great call that was. He told me about this stock down here, man, 14, 15 bucks. There goes the break. I didn't do jack all about that one. All right, 1 minute to go. Back over to the desk, I guess, talk about big earnings. I guess I sort of just squashed that with the TQs, but we'll go talk about it. Marvell coming after market.
Marvell after the bell, CRM after the bell, Snowflake after the bell. Those are the three biggest. We have earnings previews already here at Marvell and Salesforce on X. Snowflake to come. Lots to talk about those tonight for these earnings.
Yeah, Marvell is going to be a focus for me here. Big custom ASIC segment, as we've been talking about, but there's going to be a lot in the commentary that I want to hear positive, specifically whether they're able to kind of get into the new Trainium 3 manufacturing process, get away from the older cloud servers, and obviously concentration risk with AWS as well. When you dig deep into their custom ASICs business, the majority of that is taken by Amazon. Let's see if Meta, and some others could also, tie up the knot there. And their optical interconnect business, huge, 30% year-over-year growth. Let's see if it continues.
Lots of earnings in focus tonight. Again, Marvell, CRM, Snowflake. Good luck at that opening bell. We'll send you back over to the traders themselves.
Pairs. With only 15 seconds to go, Amazon with a big spike. Didn't see an imbalance, but I'm sure there was something there for a couple of seconds. And one that we did mention but didn't go over too much, I want to short pops and IBIT. 43.4 we might not get, but 43 it'll have to be. We're in touch with 75K potentially here on IBIT. Not looking good for Bitcoin at all. So Tesla immediately, Tesla had had a move on the imbalances. I shouldn't say it had a buy imbalance, but it's already breaking out. So the dip buy might not be in play, but it gave you the dip buy yesterday. Remember, it was an initial fail break and then a dip central for Tesla. So patience, more patience is what we're going to try to do here on TSLA. For those looking at Micron, already the downside through 950 and heading lower. And Trader Forever says, whoa, Palantir. Palantir in play today? Oh, well, like a lot of other things. First move to the downside here for PLTR. The market's coming down.
I almost went the other way there. I was almost saying, whoa, Amazon. I almost shorted that one. That went to 268.50 there. That shot up $4 straight on the upside. Yeah, good morning. We will talk about all that. Thank you for the super chat there. Palantir and ONDS, of course. Another good name. These names continue to fly off on this downside. That's breaking through $10 right now. I'm getting ready to go long on the TQQs here. Just a drop down in the NASDAQ. Oh, we just missed it. We're at 25s. We'll have to wait to see if that comes in. We do have Tesla on our mind. That's going upside, though, not downside. We were waiting for a downside move of $3 or $4. Doesn't look like that happens. If anything, it goes up 250 right there. That's Tesla. The other one was RKLB. Have a quick look at Rocket Labs. We were talking about 146. It gets to 148. We're going to have to wait on that one. And what's the $1 trillion baby talking about right now? As there it goes, breaking lower. So see you later for Micron. And we said Marvell was going to be a slippery slope if it broke that 18 marker. Geez, man. Money. Oh, we didn't do it, but there it goes. That's exactly the trade that we were talking about right there. The break on Marvell at 219 or 218.50 down to 210. Yesterday's closing price for Marvell. Man, that came in real quick there. Maybe it's a buy down near those levels, but Marvell right now just getting waxed a little bit. Maybe a 213 break higher. Maybe we can talk about, but right now Marvell downside right now. Was up 6%, now up 1.5.
Lunar just dropped 5 points off of the open as well. So some of the, I don't know what the other space names are doing because this is the one I have up, but LUNR goes right back into 36. This is where I guess the sellers came in on that Amazon, the Blue Origin story. So negative there for LUNR, not looking very good. I thought this could be a short the pop situation on LUNR after that news, but it doesn't even want to try to go higher. Bitcoin's not really moving. It's having a kind of blase open there. And then USO, which we should be tracking, of course, is almost all the way back when we got the Iran headline. That was at 132 on USO. That gives you a spot. Like the thing is, when you make some highs on USO, it's a great place to look for the dip buys. Right? Like, and then it will come back in. This is more or less what happened yesterday. Went up for about 15, 20 minutes, and then the dip buys were able to come in when USO found a top and then came back into the volume weighted average price. Can see a similar thing happening at the 132 area. Yeah, Tesla's still at 442. I don't know if we're going to get 35.
Much there. I tried the Marvell breakthrough 213, so I'm just going to wait. Give it about $1. And here it comes. I was going to say give it about $1.50, and there it goes. So Marvell in and out. Just try to get a little bit of a long. We do want to hold a little bit. That low today is 210. So we can have a look if it gets back into those levels. Maybe 211. We can try to maybe pick something up, but we'll see if it wants to go. We just didn't want to hold that for too long. Take a little bit of a shot there on Marvell. Does not work out. Just thought maybe they want to buy it back, but you know the downside play is there. We still are waiting for the TQs to come back in as well. There's Rocket Lab making a move back into our target there of 146. So alerting to this Rocket Lab as well as everything's coming back in. Risk off day.
IREN too.
Yeah, IREN too. Okay, so that's coming back into some levels. So we can have a quick look there. Maybe breaking through 145 would be a downside play there for Rocket Lab. We'll see if that winds up happening. But yeah, right now we're into Marvell. We averaged into that one, watching out for RKLB down near those levels. And you just mentioned IREN. We wrote down 160. Okay, there it is. So 61 on IREN now breached as well. So we'll have to wait to see if that goes. We miss the trade there on Rocket Lab, and IREN's right here right now.
Yeah, it already had one wick down into 60-60. I'm talking about IREN here, into 60-60. I'm trying to that across. But if we can close this holding at 61, that gives you at least a higher low to try to work off of. Sure, keep looking up, and Tesla is not really going anywhere. Neither is iBit. So those are still the three names that I'm going to be watching the most heavily. Some buyers coming into IREN now in the 61 level. So I'm going to take the shot there. You got to be able to try to give it to that bottom, which is about 60-60. These dark pool wicks are not real. Well, I mean, they're probably overnight levels, so technically I guess they are real. They're old prints, but not going to matter too much. We're going to get into IREN off this 61 where we like it. I have to pay up to 20s, though. Give me 11s. Give me 11s. All right, and I just took 18s. So we're into IREN at least. Tesla's still doing absolutely nothing. Okay, I shouldn't say it's doing nothing, because really it's just not dip buying. It's holding strength up here, which is good, but it's not going to give us these 30s that we're trying to get while everything else is going to the downside. So unfortunately, no position in Tesla. Thought that would be just like yesterday, where it's the first thing we trade. But no, apparently not.
No, not at all right now. Okay, there goes Rocket Lab, by the way, downside. So they break 145.50. So we take a little bit of a hit on that one. So far, all these downside moves are really coming in right now to the short. So you got to be very, very careful with that one.
Hit 50.
Yeah, IREN, let's go, man. Spin that one around. We've actually got some size on that. As there it goes now, IREN. So the one level that comes into play for us hits it, and we're happy with that. We take some out. We're long at 61.10s there on IREN, as that one's running to the upside. We do have TQQs. That just came in. We said we'd look at this at 82.30s. So there it is, man. 82.25s is where we're long right now on the TQs. Play a little bit of a bump up here. See if it does have some love back to the upside. We had to get out of Rocket Lab. I don't know if that's going to be right, but here goes IREN trying to get going back to the upside. 70s now. Let's take a piece out if we can up there. Good trade there off the note, but it's been Marvell's story, and that's been downside. It just bounced back up into 210 again, but this looks like it's just going to get hit here into earnings, right? This was up 6%, really for no reason. There was an upgrade. Let's see if it wants to get going again here. That is Marvell, but a good couple outs there on IREN, and we watch out to see what happens now with the TQs.
Yeah, this market does not want to hold on to the bid. When I said Tesla wasn't doing anything, I just meant it's not giving me the dip buy. It is what it is. Tesla just broke the high of the day and came back in pretty heavily.
Oh, Marvell.
There, so it did break the 444 again. IREN could not break VWAP there. Was able to get some out at the $0.50. I might just cover it at VWAP if we get it, because I'm reloading in front of that 61 one more time, and then the whole Tesla is doing nothing. Tesla's about the only thing that actually broke a high. But it's not. There's no buyers out and about above that high. It's the second time it's pulling that wick. So I feel like you're getting that pullback. Maybe LUNR is going to set us up. LUNR won't bounce. This is the one space name that I wanted to the short side, but this stock just continues to go lower and lower and lower. And then iBit won't even get anywhere to the upside to try to fade, as the market is continuously selling. The Nasdaq's going to go red any second, and no shot at this IBIT short at any point. I just don't want to be short at the low of the day here.
No, 82s came in to play there for the TQs, which is what we wanted. So we're long at 82.05 here. Just trying to give this, I think I just put my stop at 81.80. So yeah, into yesterday's sort of levels. I mean, if we break, we break. We can't just, sit here and think the market's going up, going, clearly looks like it's starting to head to the down. Wow, that Iran news really crushed this market there, as the stock says, wow, Marvell's back down to 200. Micron's losing it, so this might be, look at Micron, also Micron, Marvell, most likely SNDK.
Even Zscaler is getting
also to the downside. Yeah, look at this, everything getting hit. There will be a bottom at some point. I just don't know where that is. So yesterday's closing price right now for the TQs, man, we've really broken a lot lower now. Marvell back into 205 right now. Let me know, Andre. I hear Adara call for us, but I don't hear anything in my ear yet, so let me know when she's ready. Okay, what's up, Adara?
Yeah, AMD lost 500. Lots of weakness across the board. One name you might not be expecting me to talk about that's weak is JP Morgan. But JP Morgan is weak, and Jamie Dimon is still talking. Jamie Dimon says the company might issue a stablecoin one day, and they also might join a group issuing a stablecoin. He talked more about higher expenses. He said there could be an opportunity for them to use $10 to $20 billion to try buying a company. He's been just making lots of fun comments today, starting around 9 a.m. JPM pushes lower as we hear more from Jamie Dimon. Back to you.
Yeah,
we got out of
one thing
Iran,
that I
yeah.
finally got into goes up to 61.5, but then it loses that prior bar. So out of Iran, like I said, I wish I could tell you that I was chasing the short, but I just did not pull the trigger in IBIT. So Iran will be an absolute fail. But the market, I don't want to say it's a bear because it's right back into red at this point. But what was strong, it's like the IGV, Microsoft, that's trending up. So I'm wondering why Palantir wasn't stronger. I thought the whole point was Palantir was waiting for the software names to go, and then now this stock is going to be a dud?
Oh, Palantir.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I thought this might be breakout. When the IGV takes another leg up, when Microsoft makes that breakout, then you potentially get something there in Palantir. Tesla's still doing the same battle right here at VWAP. Wicks under, this is all real on Tesla. Like you've got two $3 wicks under VWAP, two $3 wicks over VWAP. There's just a consolidation, which is nasty because it's running your stops. If you're trying to hold the volume weighted average price, you got to hold it $3 against you to try to be in this. And if you're trying to short it, it's basically the same thing. So this is a wait and see for me on Tesla. We can be patient with this one. If Iran's not going to be any good, and I'm not in any of the, I shouldn't say any of the shorts. Like really the one short I wanted was going to be IBIT, and I refuse to short the low of the day here. Not going to do it. So we'll wait for Tesla. 435 still very much in play as it starts to lose the volume weighted average price itself.
I'd like to see if Marvell can get back to the upside. We're $1 in on it now, but we've just been trying to bottom pick there. So we've been taking hits, obviously, on Marvell to this point. It just went up to 207. We didn't put any offers out. So we're going to sit there now, see if we can make a little bit, see if we can get out of 10% or so for 206.75. 206.85, sorry, is where I'm at right now. So we'll wait to see if that winds up kicking higher. There it is. One more push and we should be able, didn't go. All right, and this is a problem. Okay, well, there it goes again. We tried the TQs there at 82 bucks. We talked about that. Doesn't look like that one wants to go. 82, maybe break back above this little marker there, 82.05, then we can get going. But there goes, like Marvell was just upside. Now it's downside. IREN has not worked, although that's back to 61. Maybe there's something there. And then Rocket Lab keeps getting hit. This was an in and out real quick. So was IREN. We'll be red, obviously, on these names. But there it goes, man. We might have just stopped out right at the lows there of 60.50 as it's trying to battle back as well. Let's just wait to see if these TQs, what they want to do. But it's getting pretty low where we may just, even though I still have 25% of what we had. So that looks like that's going to come out around 81.50. Yeah, not great right here for the NASDAQ and catching this falling knife. The NASDAQ was almost up 1%. Now you're down to 30,000 again and trying to find a base. So here we go, man. How far will this market drop? We will soon see. Tesla might be the one long. I mean, that was at 436 that we liked. It's trying to hold up at least. So trying to find some strength. Is Micron trying to help this market out? Yes. So that's a little bit of a bounce. Its low is 925. Let's see if that can battle back. And here comes the TQs one more time. We'll see if the NASDAQ can go. We mentioned Apple was underneath the 50 VWAP. Well, look at this name, man. there it goes. So some maybe rotations back into some stable names and out of some riskier ones like a Micron.
I bet if you looked at, I bet if you were to look at some of the stable names, they would have done really well. Oh, I was able to get something on IREN there on a bit of a chase, but it came back through 61. So there's your bottoming tail wick. Sometimes it happens, but it goes right back through the 61 into VWAP. So I think this is the place to go. IREN back, the market's still at the low of the day. This is at least looking strong, but a scalp into VWAP to get some back. And then I want to try to add to this, jump back in as long as it can hold the 61 level, give it a tighter stop, and take multiple shots at this. And we said maybe there's some other places where you're able to find, whoops, that's not FCX, I wanted FDX. See, you always gravitate, it's just muscle memory. I don't usually pull up FedEx. FedEx up 3% today, right? Like you're gonna find some strength out here in the market in some places where we haven't been looking for leadership. And it's not that FedEx is a boring stock, but that's actually, it's a 52-week high for FedEx as well. That's a stock that's actually breaking out. Micron looking like it's making a bit of a turn. Tesla's underneath 440, I almost said finally under 440. I don't want it to go down. It's just that 435 was the level I was looking for the dip. And now that it's under 440, you're at least in range of getting a bid level that I like here on Tesla. So the market coming in, let's try to be patient with it. Intel flushing, is that at 118 was a hard turn yesterday on Intel. It's already there, 4% down.
All these names, man. Everything right now. Yeah, the news does not look good today, that is for sure. Just checking out for NVIDIA, down to 210, 211, so this name losing bid as well, as you're trying to catch something here that might have a chance to bounce a little bit. We're still trying to hold on to a little bit of this market, but wow, we are falling back in quite nicely here on the NASDAQ, down to $81. We looked at 82 and thought that might have been a buy. We're just holding on to a small piece to wait to see if there's some sort of a get up right there. Marvell gave us multiple chances to get out for close to that dollar in and around 207. We kept, honest, I can't make this up. I'm at 206.85. The highs were 206 like 80s, 86s, 87s, I don't know. So we'll have to wait to see if this one comes in. We're not trying to hold on to many shares down at these levels as Marvell turns red. It was down 8% now from its highs, was up 6% here going into earnings today for Marvell tonight. So there's the crush of that name all the way to the downside. I don't know what to do. I was going to wait to maybe punch a little bit longer if we did take this 50 level again, but it looks like the TQs and the NASDAQ continues to drop down. I mean, it's pretty much free reign back down in here into $78. So we can see what's going on. There's $80.50, maybe as a buy zone there for the TQQs. But at this point, it's just kind of a wait and see experiment. As Marvell, we can try to buy a little bit around here at 205. We'll see, there we go. We averaged some in there. We'll see where it goes from here. Maybe you just have to use the lows of 203 there as our out. But we're back in now into Marvell for flat, but got to give this at least $1.50. So we're looking to make at least 207s here on the upside, and we get back into the Qs as it finally tries to take that 50 marker. Let's just see if it wants to go now. If not, let's get the heck out of this one as this name just continues to sort of wander and take that downside road, path less visited recently, downside for the NASDAQ. It looks like it's trying to do it here today.
Well, it's trying to bounce. Some in the chat saying ServiceNow is apparently going crazy. I guess that makes...
That's the IGV, like
that just makes the IGV, the whole, I guess, rotation trade make a little bit more sense. IREN is trying to hold this 61 level. It already stopped out once there. Been taking profits 30s, 50s, into the 60s at VWAP. But at some point, if we just keep making fresh lows, the stop's way tighter here. I'm stopping it in the quarters instead of at the 60 level. So I just want to risk like 25, 30 cents instead of 40, 50. Just the way this market is going down, it kind of makes some sense to me. So taking out what we can, and if it's the one stock which is actually at and trying to hold the level I like, so it's about the only long that I'm going for at this point. ServiceNow, there you go. Yeah, I mean, the rotation, it makes a lot of sense. The IGV going, ServiceNow going, Microsoft going. I still don't understand why Palantir wouldn't be a part of that story. That doesn't make sense to me. I feel like if we continue to see this where the software names look strong, Palantir's been getting beaten up because of their big portion of the IGV. This could be a VWAP breakout play, at least potentially. And I still want to be short IBIT. I just don't want to hit it at the low.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to get out at these lows, but the market just keeps on. Oh, IBIT's down.
The thing is, you just broke 75K. Whoops. Where'd my Binance thing go?
Oh yeah, 74.
There it is, 74 now. I was trying to show you guys. We just broke 75K here.
Bye-bye.
So I would hate to hit this and then 75K holds. If anything, I'd be looking for a reversion somewhere down at these types of levels. But the one thing that I'm in is about to give it up again. There's been a couple of scalp opportunities on IREN off that 61, but that's pretty much it. Market's still headed lower. At least Tesla's not, it's not at 435 yet, so this one taking its time getting to our levels. Tesla's still looking like it could be the bounce where we want it.
All right, we did get a little stopped out there on the TQs, of course, because it breaks through 81. So, we're trying to let this name hold, but not yet. I mean, there's nothing right here that's giving me any sort of vibes that this stock market wants to head back up to the upside. Jamie Dimon right now speaking something about cybersecurity, so that's never going to be good there. He's worried about it, so that's not good as Zscaler then hitting to the downside. But we did see a little bit of a bounce back, of course, in the IGV, so maybe there's something there. Let's see if he's doing anything to CrowdStrike.
Dimon is a very pessimistic.
I believe those cybersecurity comments were made earlier in his speech. They could just be recirculating. Because I saw something about Jamie Dimon and cybersecurity earlier.
Okay, somebody's taking up a bunch of memory.
Well, he's not helping things. Zscaler's down 27%. Maybe we will see enough of a dip buy in, maybe you won't see that much of a dip buy in crowd. It's only 3.5% down. If a name like this goes 10% or anywhere approximating it on this Zscaler stuff, bye. I can't really say that fast enough. I'm not Jonesy. So again, I'm only really trading IREN at this point. And it did another dip underneath 61 to hold this 3/4 level and then back up through 61. So the way I'm playing this is on the way back up through 61, I'm trying to go long instead of just sitting on the bid. So every time it holds these higher lows, I'm jumping in, trying to scalp some out in front of VWAP, and I do want to get this to the 62 level if it can even go. But with the way this market's headed down, what are you going to do? Tesla just broke 38.
Oh, did it? Ugh.
So Tesla is headed toward that gap fill. So if you're saying, well, that 435, it's not a realistic price, well, it looks a lot more realistic now, doesn't it? As everything is coming in here.
Yes.
Everything is on sale. Micron, hey, that's a big bounce on Micron.
That's what I'm hoping this market can bounce.
If Micron's going now, what can I get that would lag?
Trying to find something that's
Intel through 18. Yeah, we're getting a bounce here.
Okay, good. Let's hope that continues, man. I mean, here goes the TQs. Back to our 81.50 spot that we liked at one point. It's making a march. There it goes, right back down in again. So there it goes. All right, well, that was nice. I was just up to 50s there, thinking that we were going to go through that level that I'm not going to punch longer there, but that was a level that I was looking at. So we'll see if that can come back to life there with the NASDAQ. Just a little bit. I mean, is it beat up too much? Maybe. But they were still getting some help from the big boys, right? It's still Apple's world. That's up near the high, so that's nice to see. We did take a shot on Rocket Lab. We gave it up, though. Maybe it's time to get back in as we see a bottom there of 143. We gave a shot on. We gave a shot on everything that we had so far there today. We take the low of the day on IREN. This is not a huge hit, though, on IREN. We didn't really take that many shares there. We probably should have taken more considering that move down, but there's the move back up. So unfortunately don't have that one. But things are starting to get a little bit better now as, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this. Just take out a little piece here at 95s. There we go. If we can get it as Marvell finally bouncing a little bit there, as we just mentioned. Nice little upside move here in the market to pay us off for our patience, but we took hits on the way down. So there it comes now with the TQs finally starting to go. And then maybe Marvell can actually do something for us. I was waiting at 206.85. That was that first little level there. I'll put another one here at 205.50. Maybe it does climb back up and take advantage of this move because we've been averaging in to the downside. And we, I said this to Joe, we say it on the show every day. It's one thing, it's like dollar cost averaging out when you're winning. When you're losing, sometimes when you get a little bit of a bump like this, you don't have to wait for it to absolutely moon. If you can get something out and sort of start to lick the wounds a little bit. We had that example with someone had those options the other day that was down. I think it was Wolf there. He super chatted like a madman, and it was down $9,000 or something. And then all of a sudden, NVIDIA options started to rally a little bit, and it was only down like $6,000 after all. So you're kind of making that back if you can. So there it goes. Nice little bounce back here on the NASDAQ. Unfortunately, we did get stopped out right there. We bought it back once it broke through 81 one more time. So now we're long at 81.11s. 65 cents in the money, and just going to take out another piece as it continues to go, and hoping that we do get an extension here on Marvell as well. Really, it was just the TQs, too many shots there today. Marvell still has a good chance of getting back to the upside.
Well, IREN absolutely did. I'm into Tesla on a bit of a trend break. It's just the first push up there on Tesla that we're going to grab. But IREN went right into that 62 too, so that was kind of the V-shape I was looking for on it. It did stop out early, but it's the only thing that was holding the level that we wanted there on IREN. And then Tesla with the first green candle on the downtrend, so we're going to play the old, it's trend break, pull it back into the volume weighted average prices. Now the market's really starting to come back in here. I want to make sure I'm getting some in front of VWAP just in case it does what it did in yesterday's trade. Oops, I just did the wrong thing there. Here. Which is the first time through, gets to VWAP and fails, makes another low, and then breaks out on Tesla. So that's what we saw last time. Like the first initial bounce wasn't the best one. The second bounce was the bigger one there on Tesla. So I want to make sure I'm getting this. 441's already seeing some sellers. I was on the other side of that lane. I might try to get some out in front of the 441s. We're long 39.5, and then see how far this one can go. Like the Nasdaq's back through the 30,000 and trying to go back into the green once again. Just required some patience here today, but now the market's really starting to go. If we can get to green, USO's not moving anymore. Micron already made its bounce. It's at VWAP. Just needed to punch through. And I think we'll get a better relief rally going.
Yeah, let's see if we can get it again now. Now we're $3 in on Marvell. This has been a good stock for me. It was just the only stock that's going to be a problem was this, man, the TQs, because we tried it there at 82. Really thought it was going to bounce. Wound up losing it at 81.50. That 50-cent hit was just too much. So now we're going to have to wait. We don't have to do anything. We're just going to wait to see if this market does, as Neil mentioned, get back to Greensville. Downside there. Tesla didn't quite get to my price, but I'm glad it's there for you right now. Just a quick little look at the overall market to see what's going on. It's 954 right now. So we'll just have a quick look at the S&P. Whoops, go like that, go like this, go like that. S&P right now. So Apple, NVIDIA down. Too bad there. Nice move back for Home Depot. I think there's some money to be made on a Home Depot long. Wow, Target up 2%. We definitely like that one. Marvell pulling back just a bit. We talked about them. Retail space, pretty hot right now. Carvana, Target, nice upside plays. There's Amazon. Walmart still getting low. Got to get a little lower for me to be interested in it. We've talked a little bit about that one. Some of the financials today, I mean, there's Morgan down 1.4. So if you do like some Morgan Stanley, down 1.5 is good. Look at, no wonder this man is, screaming out there. JP Morgan down 3% today. Not good right there for JP Morgan as that continues to get a little bit lower there as Joe slaps the fail on that stock. I really love I love the banks. I don't love them, but I love them as longer term. We'll have to wait to see there. Eli Lilly nicely going there for them, up 1.25 percentage points, but it's over here where we're going to have to look, right? I mean, there's NVIDIA, Intel, we already marked that. That was down 4. Qualcomm down 6. Corning. So some of the names that have really gotten going are now pulling back in on a day where, yeah, the market got hit early, and we'll see if there is a battle back. But that's a little bit of a quick look there at the heat map. And, we did good to get out for sure of some Marvell up there near that 208, but there was really no continuation. Does not get to VWAP. That's where we were sort of waiting for more upside on Marvell, but it's came back in quite nicely, as did the futures. But, get some out there. And now, wow, way back in now.
So,
go ahead. Yeah, market way back.
USO just broke. It's not a big level, but USO just broke the top a little bit here, so it's continuing trend up. I just hopped out of Tesla. Like I said, I don't want to fight anything. It gave the turn, but the body of the candles got rejected. You're not even getting to VWAP at this point. Micron, which I was watching pretty closely, as it had the biggest spike and it's been leading the way, it didn't want to go. So, IREN went actually further than we anticipated, so thankfully that was good, but kind of we'll give some back there on Tesla. Look for the third trade, hopefully. It might be that short if I can find something in IBIT, but this just doesn't want to bounce. Like this, Bitcoin's incredibly weak today. Even if the market bounces, this one feels like it's not good at all. Adara, what do you have for us?
Well, Zscaler just made a new low of day, so there's that. But let's talk right now about USO. As you mentioned, there was that spike higher here in USO, and it could have to do with this report. Mer News Agency, so this is an Iranian news agency, reporting that a fire has broken out in an administrative building at Imam Khomeini Airport near Iran's capital, Tehran. So fire breaking out in an admin building near Tehran. If I get anything else on this, I'll let you know. Again, nothing massive or directly related to the conflict, but we know sometimes fire and explosion are headlines that will send USO higher, at least even in algo spikes. Back to you.
At 30%.
Yeah, I don't know. That's, like I said, about JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon. Maybe, Adair, you could... Okay, good. So you can mention it during happening now what Jamie is all about over there. He's about a lot of things. Okay, so... Yeah, and I think there's also a crypto, some sort of a stablecoin talk there from him as well, but we'll get that.
I did mention that. He said maybe we'll get into stablecoin or maybe we'll join a group doing stablecoin. So like I said with Jamie, pretty much everything he said, Sean, was we might do this or we might do that or we could do neither.
Right. Or nothing, yeah. So there it goes. Shout out to Jamie Dimon. We do get that 8180 on a bounce back up again on the NASDAQ. So yeah, so far so good on catching some of the bottoms. It was making those bottoms that was the hard part today. You know, when we just talked about those financials, I can't imagine that SoFi is doing anything. But then again, of course, I'm wrong. So SoFi now up 2.5%. So that's a good one. At least we bought some of that at 16 bucks yesterday. Very public buy of that as well as we announced that play. And then AMD actually made me feel good for a second there as we sold some 497s or 498s a couple days ago. And now you're finally back under that 5 bill mark. And we wait to see now where this name wants to rest its head eventually. And of course, that is our good friend, and maybe not for long, Micron, AMD and Micron, both starting to go a little lower right here into the opening of the first 30 minutes. Not a great open for some of these chip names here today for sure. But
Iron's at the high of the day.
Yeah, Iron was, of course, the only call that I make that's any good today is Iron. And there it goes, upside there for IREN. I'm red on it, so, but we should have just held that. There goes Iron. Happy for the call on Iron, but yeah, not happy to not have any of that on board still.
Well, Tesla's trying to break this trend again, so I'm going to probably take. Look, it's worth taking a couple of shots at this, but it just wicked the bottom. Iron did the same thing, where it ran the bottoms once and then went the second time. Well, Tesla just made a higher low running the bottom. Let's see if I can get in here. I wanted to be in underneath 440, but that's a hefty candle pulling back in here. I'm trying to get this 439.50. This will adjust. Iron is absolutely gone at this point. So I want to have this second shot at Tesla if we can catch it. Apparently Ford has hit $16 according to some people in the
Oh
chat.
yeah.
There's some different names leading the markets today. We talked about that with FedEx. You're seeing it with Ford as well. We got different leadership. When the chip game or the AI play falters a little bit, believe me, in a bull market, there's going to be other places that money is going to go to that look strong. Let's go back over to Adair. Now it's time for happening now.
It is, and we're going to spend some time talking about Jamie Dimon and what he said and or implied and or shrugged about. But we'll start here with the market because here's the S&P 500. Big drop here, the first 15-minute candle. Nice recovery in the second, and right now in the third, kind of trying to decide a direction. Now, this headline here is what initially sent us skyrocketing to the upside. Iran State TV reporting that they have a draft of the initial unofficial framework for potential memorandum of understanding with the U.S. Now, it's worth noting this memorandum of understanding did not include mentions of either enriched uranium, which is a big thing that the U.S. has been talking about, or repayment of funds, which is a big thing Iran's been talking about. So two major things that each country has said that they're really concerned about, not mentioned in that memorandum of understanding. It also doesn't even apply to military vessels, I believe. So there's a lot of, still hemming and hawing here. Either way, the market initially liked it, pushing back a little bit lower right now. Let's talk MU, speaking of pushing back lower. We were talking earlier this morning, Sharif and I, about the possibility of this getting above 1,000 before the bell. It actually, as of right now, still holding 900, but just barely as the MU rally pulls back a little bit. SNDK, another name that behaved similarly, as well as AMD. But let's talk about JP Morgan, because Jamie Dimon, CEO of JPM, made a lot of comments. He's also talking about succession, saying that succession is the most important thing for JPM's board right now, and they have potential successors inside the company for whenever Jamie Dimon eventually retires and or steps down. He said cybersecurity is the biggest risk, and that Mythos amplifies that risk. He said that there could be some refinance risks, but he doesn't expect a systemic risk when it comes to credit. And there is some, but when there is some stress in the environment, it could be worse than expected. So as I mentioned, a lot of could, shoulds, maybes, and could be's. The other thing he said as well with stablecoin, we could get into a stablecoin, or we could join another group with a stablecoin. He said we could put aside $10 to $20 billion for M&A. We don't know a lot about what they will do. is what I'm trying to say here based on these comments from Jamie Dimon at this conference. Last but not least, I know what Zscaler will do, and that is unfortunately break 130. We are down sharply here on ZS after a solid earnings reports. The one negative thing I saw there was their free cash flow margin guidance actually dropped here for fiscal 2026. We've got Marvell after the bell, we have CRM after the bell, and we also have Snowflake after the bell. Lots of earnings on watches. Speaking of Snowflake, SNOW looking nice. What are you guys looking at?
Yeah, just looking at a few stocks over here. Yeah, the NASDAQ, there it goes, man. We're in the dollar club now as an S&P 500 and the NASDAQ get back to green. Actually, I shouldn't say that about the S&P. I'm not sure. Okay, that's also back to Greensville right there. So, yeah, man, that took a minute to get that going. So we will, live another day right now. And Marvell, just another piece out there, Adara, at 206.25. So, good little level there for us on Marvell. Would still like to see an extension going through. But you asked me what my trading looks like. My question is, what does yours look like if capital wasn't the constraint? That's the reality for most traders. It's not skill holding them back. It's, of course, the size of their account. Trade the Pool changes that. Step into the U.S. equity markets with up to $200,000 in buying power without committing any of your own capital. Full access to stocks and ETFs, both long and short executions with the precision and freedom serious traders expect. Your performance is measured by one standard: discipline, risk management, and consistent execution. Meet that standard, and you, of course, can operate as well at scale. No subscriptions, no ongoing obligations, just a clear path forward. For those ready to trade beyond limitations, this is the next level. Please visit one word, tradethepool.com, and use code TraderTV, again one word, and you will gladly take that 10% off. So Trader TV gets you 10% at tradethepool.com. Thank you to them for their sponsorship, and maybe we'll get Steve Tileman on Thursday, I guess, tomorrow. Truth. Only a day away. And if you are the NASDAQ, then you are hoping that tomorrow brings a little bit more success than today. Although, being up zeros is still okay. Big NASDAQ names, of course, continuing to get hit here today with the likes of the NVIDIAs of this world. And we see strong name in Apple still trying to hold fort. NVIDIA right now looks like it wants to slip up again. Does not take that 25 period moving average, does not take VWAP, and right now just battling itself around a bit here as we look for some more opportunities. People were screaming at us about Palantir earlier. Well, kind of looking not huge right there. The Tesla trade.
Iron's at 65.
Yeah, Tesla, good one there. 439, I think you had there. That was a good one, up to 442 right there. Iron was missed, man. I mean, that was a name that we both had, and unfortunately being red on that one. We should have just averaged into it, which I didn't.
There's the thing that can be, like, to me, Tesla was at the top of the list to trade, so I was just waiting for the opportunities to get into Tesla. But again, see right here at 443, all those wicks, that same place where there was the wicks underneath and above, resistance. So into resistance, and that's as far as it goes. And then remember how Iron was the one stock that was working at the level that we liked at 61. So of course that's the one that I don't hold, and I go over to Tesla. I am finally into IBIT. It would be ironic if my first down stock would be the one I wanted short in a day that the market goes down, but we just got the VWAP there on IBIT. So I'm short here, gonna look for the low of the day to scalp some out, and we're gonna get our, oh, that was close. Man down. Yeah, man down, as I just tapped the glass there. That's why you should always look at what you're doing. Yeah, mine did. Oh. How full was that? The interesting thing is I actually put mine half in because it cools down so fast. No, I don't chug coffee. Yeah, I'm not.
I always have at least half a cup. This one has about a third left in it.
No, I never, because it'll get cold before I finish. I sip it. I just try to sip the coffee.
It is, oops, I'm wearing a different watch. As I look down, what is the temperature there today? I haven't worn this Rolex in a while. That's probably why I'm losing money. 10:06 right now. It is 19 degrees with a high of 24 there today. So that'll be a good one there. Looking forward.
I thought we were seeing like 27 today.
I hope so there. Spotify giving me a coupon here. No, thank you.
Yeah, when it's nice and warm, no one wants to, like, we're supposed to end practice, I think at like 8.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't end practice until, I don't know, by that point, it's like, well, everyone gets to hit 3 more times or whatever it is. And next thing you know, it's like 8:15, 8:20.
Yeah, the time.
And then you have a few parents that are just like, we need to get home because we haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm like, okay, fine, fair enough. But if the kids are into it, you got to let them go. So the market's still looking I mean, still looking comeback-ish, but we're not really following through VWAP. The Nasdaq's at VWAP. Micron, I said earlier Micron got to VWAP. I was a little bit mistaken there. It got close. It did not break out past the volume weighted average price. I'm now possibly, I don't want to write off Tesla because it did this yesterday, where it wasn't the first bounce, it was the second bounce. And it made a fresh low and bottomed out at 10:30. It's 10 o'clock now. So if it makes a fresh low, it still can get into that 435 prior day high. And that would be the level to look for. But I don't like these lower highs that it's putting in. So we'll just stick with the IBIT short right for now. As it gets into the low of the day, scalp out into the low and then try to hold for more. If we retake 75K to the downside, it could get really nasty for Bitcoin, which has been a dog anyways. Adam James abroad says, step right up, roll your sleeves up for an Ebola jab. Well, I hope not. I really hope that's not. Codex, I guess they have, I guess CODX, of course, is one of the main plays for what I really hope that's not too much of a concern. And they are halted to the upside. Looks like the second time today, so up 25%, so once, twice. I see the tap as another 40 cents from here, 11.84. So CODX, this has already been running.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this is not doing something new. This was a $1.50 stock when the outbreak started. So it's just continuing to squeeze here. I don't remember off the top of my head what the short float is, but I believe it's double digits. So yeah, indicating an 11.84 open. Really hope that they get that. I don't know if you heard some of the stories, but it's like they had these tents that they were isolating people in.
Oh, okay.
And people were setting fire to the tents, I guess, out of fear that it
In
would
which
spread.
country?
Oh. But the crazy thing, people were then running away from the fire and then getting back out. So further contaminating.
Inmates have escaped. Yeah.
It's like the worst case scenario because then you have them running rampant. Anyways, it's a scary one. But thankfully, pretty much contained.
Good.
We're going to go to...
Let's go to Adair. I'm just watching. The market is pulling back in a little bit. It's 10:10. Market had a run back to positive. Now we're down 0.2%. Let's go see what Adair is up to.
Codex is a 3.4 million share float. Short float is insignificant. It's under 5%, I believe. I want to talk about Boeing because Kelly Ortberg, CEO of Boeing, he's talking right now. And as I speak, this push is higher. He's saying that the company's China commitment, their commitment from China to order jets is a good start and that there will be more to come. He also added they have yet to see any requests from airplanes or from airlines for delivery delays. So it looks like there's not going to be any delivery delays for now, at least according to what Kelly Ortberg's saying. BA pushing higher, breaking into a new day high. Nice push, breakout above that 224 level. Back to you.
All right.
Oh, Boeing.
Yeah, we definitely like some Boeing. I last bought some of that at $2, but then we didn't do anything about it. I think it's probably closer to that now. Yeah, didn't we get up to 250 or so on Boeing there? Yes, we did. So actually almost exactly 250. We wick as high as 246 there, right into those levels where this is why 250 is ringing in my head a bit because those were the highs. We did buy the dips into 200. The last, was this here in April? Yeah, maybe it was, or maybe it was here, and we broke below, and then it went up to 250 back in, and then again. So I think I'll buy some more Boeing if we do get into this 190 to 195, get a little away, and I know it's still, very much part of the NASDAQ idea because if tech rolls over, I know Boeing will probably roll with it, but, like that play, a little away from major AI sort of dominant plays like a Micron that's pulled well off of 1,000. We've made a move through 900 yesterday. We got as high as 985 or so in the pre-market. Yes, that's exactly what it was, 985. And then there's the pullback into 920, looking to break lower. We did average a little bit into our, I should have maybe taken, so I'm at 15s here, waiting. We just get as low as 19s. We'll see if that comes just a bit lower. I hope it really doesn't. We did take a bit more of Marvell right here at 203. 204, just hoping that it does wind up holding. We got 203.80s. Trying to give this one some kind of room. We were able to make some back for sure on the upside. We almost turned this trade green if it would have just kept going, but it does not. It was pretty green if it hung around this 207 area, but Marvell right now getting hit as we warn about earnings coming later on there today. All right, here we go. We're about to get longer a little bit. Let's just buy some 25s. But get a little longer here on the TQs. just coming back in, waiting to see if we can support some of the lows of the day. I think I have a stop to get out of 75% of this at 81 break. So if that breaks, we're going to get away from the NASDAQ and then just say, you know what, you got us, man. This is a down day. Because you're not even down that much. You're only down 0.2. Like if this NASDAQ goes down 1.5% or something like that, and I'm just sitting there like, that's not a good look. So we're going to have to wait to see what the NASDAQ wants to do and what Marvell decides to do in and around some of these levels. We're at a breaking point right now. The market has to hold or else downside. There's no more numbers. So
just some
it's just the market going nuts here and trying to hold.
Zscaler's trying to break trend. It just did. Zscaler's down. It did hit that 30% down here, unfortunately, for Zscaler. But from the open, right to VWAP, to hug the trend line, it's just breaking trend right now on this current bar in a 3-minute, although technically it doesn't close for another 2 minutes here in Zscaler. The current low is 128.54. It's obviously going to be SSR at this point. So I'm just going to throw my stop underneath that new fresh low. If it makes a new low, like literally the low of the day is the prior bar, so that kind of makes it easy. If Zscaler makes a fresh low, then I'll be out of it. But once this bar, if this bar closes holding the trend line, then I'll add to it. I'm technically in a little bit early here, so it's like a nibble in and then take the rest after. IBIT holds a higher low. So VWAP into a higher low. For now, I still want to play to the actual low of the day, and I have my stop still above the volume weighted average price. But we'll let it get back there. If it gets all the way back, you know what? I shouldn't be giving up. If we actually hold a couple of green candles, like this one holds green, I might take some out in the 40 range and just respect the fact the market's trying to bounce here. But this is the one place that I did want to look short. So we're giving us that chance. And so far, with the exception of how ridiculously far IREN went, it's been good. It's just, I didn't really think IREN was getting to $65.
All right, we're $3 in the money. We just took some Micron. I was just like, you know what, let's just see if it wants to battle. That $3 is fugazi because look how fast this comes right back in. So we do take something out there near the highs, but it's going to take a minute to get Micron going for sure. I was just thinking about this little 9-10 area there, if it's worth it or not, but there comes right back in. So we hit the siren. We're into a new position now. Wow. Micron just went to 917 there when I was in this trade. You know, and I was like, oh, that's a good trade. And now it's just dancing like crazy as this market trying to get it all figured out there. I thought Micron did have a runway back up there. I mean, that was been a real quick $20 if it was going to work, but you could lose $20 just as quickly as you can make it here on Micron. So let's be very careful with that 9-10 dropout area of MU. It's made a low into 910 and bounced off of that. That right there is 900, so we do have to be very careful. Remember, when the spread opens up, you're dead. Like that's $1 right there. So you got to be there, go like right up there, like. You got to put these offers out on Micron to make sure that you get filled. We are long right now. I'm going to put another offer in the 15 area just to see if we get a little bit of a spike up because again, you're starting to get nervous if this level does break. We do see some big downside there. Look at that. Like that was just at 914.50 or so. Make the move down $2 just quick as you like, just like that, and then right back up again. So the market is trying to base out, but maybe Micron is a little early on this trade. You know, the low has been 905, trying to hold out for a little bit of a trade there, but if it drops out, we're only trading with quarter of a unit. We've already got out of 25% right there at 917. Like I said, that happened pretty quickly there. So just trying to let Micron breathe a little bit, but at the same time, can't let it breathe too much, man, because it's a fire dragon, a fire breather right there, down through 910. So be careful. There it goes. Did we get a piece out there on the? Yes, we did. So there's a nice move back up. We only took $1 there, man. We got 915. What did we get? 915.15. So yeah, about $1 right there. As of now, we're trying to get back upside here on Micron. My next fill is at that 919. Hopefully that can come through. We're watching the NASDAQ and we're watching Micron right now, as well as Marvell. So looking for some bids to come into this market as we just touch down near the lows one more time. TQ is finally starting to go as well.
Yeah, the 30,000 level on the NQ just held. If we ever have to talk about 3,000, then get your shotguns out, everybody. But we just held the 30,000 level pretty nicely. So you're still making some higher lows. Well, you don't have to buy a shotgun. I just mean it's the apocalypse if we saw 3,000. You got other fish to fry. So we're in this reversion trade in Zscaler. This will be the first one that wasn't on my list It's an SSR play, so it's not usually like an automatic price level that I like the long. It'll just be wherever it happens to break the trend. So it broke the trend, it confirmed. If it makes a fresh low, I'll be out, and we'll take the L on that bad boy. I was thinking about Intel, and I'm still thinking about Intel. It's above that 118 level that I like, but it's already hard charging. I feel like I might have missed the chance at this. I don't want to be like piling in any higher lows. So I'm just gonna, for now, stick with this IBIT. We're able to catch a couple of solid longs already, and this is, as the market bounces, this is not looking nearly as strong as the Qs. So I feel like this is fine. Like if we get into VWAP and we're underneath VWAP on IBIT, then it's maintaining its relative weakness, and hopefully we can ride that one. And if the market falls apart, obviously I think this will end up being good, and it'll give me some reload opportunities here at the volume weighted average price. So what else is strong? We already talked about the IGV leading the way here. Like look at this, it's about to go green. Is it still Microsoft and ServiceNow, I suppose?
What's rallying the market?
Microsoft is inside, not really going anywhere too crazy. ServiceNow was super strong earlier. That's still probably the strongest name out here. 3.5%, that's very much trend up. You don't want to lose, if this loses the bid, I'd be a little bit worried. I can't look at this without seeing, I might actually want to take a reversion at some point in that bad boy as well. As I see somebody is back in the building. Hello. C's in the house.
We actually get, welcome back, Sia. We actually get $5 right there, so we'll spend the money on Micron. You get up to right there, 919.50 is what we got. I mean, we told you we were sitting there, so right into that level, ahead of that 920 marker. We take a fill. We have half of this position left. Doesn't mean it's going to go up or down from here, but Micron right now, giving it a little bit of room. We get, you know what, just because it's of how it's moving, we should maybe put another order in and around that 919, so let's do that right now. Let's go 919 flat, see if we grab that. Hopefully we do on a little bit of a spike up. We take advantage again of the market, getting out of some of those NASDAQ names at those levels. We were into Rocket Lab earlier as well, so Rocket Lab back to 142. That name is looking like it wants to go lower into some of those bids, 140, 142, good little level there for them. I'm a little nervous about Micron because, you know, we're not really taking advantage of these moves up there, and this market is kind of just hovering around. So yeah, this name, very interesting one, that is for sure. A lot of fun trading this as it moves up and down $4 or $5 at a time, and it's Marvell, what we're really looking at to get going there. We miss out on our IREN. Well, we got IREN, but we didn't hold it for long enough, and we just wait for Marvell to try to do something. Just ticked again back through 204 and did not hold that level of 204.50. So we're looking for upside here on Marvell. Day before earnings, very risky. Just thought there might be a pushback here. It doesn't really look like it. It's Marvell, it's Micron, it's the TQs, and the market looks like it wants to go lower, bouncing right now off the 50-period moving average. This is why we're getting out. You know, we reject the 50 there, we reject it again right now. So, hey man, the long may be there, just doesn't look like it for now. Let's go back over to the desk with Adara, it's 10:20.
Starting here with Sologenics, one of two companies that is trading higher here, second day after announcing this Bundibugyo virus vaccine potential here. So apparently their Thermovax platform was announced yesterday morning. So again, day 2 catalyst demonstrated suitability rather for the Bundibugyo virus vaccine. So just be aware here, SNGX, second day catalyst. This one was also mentioned on our Trader TV Live watch list. BRTX really strong here today, and actually not a vaccine related catalyst, the only one that's not vaccine related on the small cap recap. Chaos Capital acquiring roughly 5% here of issued and outstanding common stocks of biorestorative therapies. Last but not least, CODX here, Codex, Co-Diagnostics, announcing that they've advanced the PCR assay development strategy for the aforementioned Bundibugyo virus. Unfortunately, that's breaking out in the Congo. CODX, as you can see here, guys, pretty violent. This is also a day 2 play. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying all the content here. Back to you.
It's you have a virus, I have a virus, we all have viruses right now, and I don't.
Different viruses other than Ebola?
Oh,
what?
Man.
Oh my god.
Okay, man, we gotta get some.
This is a different name for it?
Yeah, we're gonna get some Moderna over here or what?
Oh.
Right now, yeah. So we, you know, viruses or not, maybe Micron is feeling some virus right now as it's down 1.25%. just trying to get some bids going on here. I'm offering, okay, there we go. I was gonna say I'm offering 909 there. We take some of that as we're back into the money now on Micron, but hey man, for how long, nobody knows. This is absolutely wild on Micron. So we're just trying to make a little bit of money here, and it's been tough sledding trying to pick up some of these bids. The short has been 100% the call here today. Micron, obviously $1 in the money. Let's just take out a little bit more up there if we can. I don't want to cross too much because you give up a lot of upside if you do play in the middle there, because the spread is $1
there's
right
a
now.
shock down.
So there's a move to the downside.
Well, first, it'll be the first one red for me, but there goes another fresh low on Zscaler. Now 31% down. We took our one trend break. It just broke the LOD. IBIT's going to be at the low. So I didn't get the reloaded VWAP on IBIT. It got close and then immediately back in. Right, if it bounces off the bottom, again, I'm going to try and get some out. Maybe I'll just move to the... They say you should bid in front of every 5 cents on stocks that are under 50 bucks. You bid the 35s, you bid the 30s, you bid the 25s, that kind of a thing. So if we get the reload next time, I should in front of VWAP. It just didn't quite get there. Like we had a VWAP tag and hold. This time it just completely rejected underneath. So the short will end up being right. Even IREN is back to 61. Like look at this stock. This is all the way back into 61 on IREN. If it continues this a bit of a gap fill, you could see like 59. It's just not a horrible day, but it's a weak day for the markets and not looking very good. We'll go back to Adair. I see your super chat, Howard. We're going to make sure we get to that one because that was a good call from Brian.
Keep an eye here on PYPL. This one pushing higher now. In case you missed it, we already had some movement on PayPal pre-market on comments from the CEO, Enrique Lores, in terms of maybe missing their Q2. Brandon, check out Outlook. But according to their blog, they're going to be furthering the partnership with Perplexity. You can get a full year of Pro completely free when you connect your PayPal account. So PYPL did spike here. I'm also seeing, and I have to read more into this, so give me a couple minutes, guys, but just be aware USO is pushing a little bit higher. The rapid response account on X, which is the White House official account, they're apparently indirectly denying the Iran state media reported MOU. So we knew that draft memorandum of understanding between Iran and U.S. didn't seem to feature some really key points that Iran and U.S. had been arguing about. Now, apparently White House potentially calling fake news. I'm going to keep looking into this. If I get more info, I will let you know. But they have issued a comment, I guess, about it on X. I'm going to read more. Back to you.
Thank you. And we have 2 super chats. So
good.
It's not just Adams, but we have Howard, the Usher.
Ooh, the Usher.
And it is MTCH. Everyone else knows them as Match. And a big shout out and a thank you to Brian Shannon. 2% in, I mean, look, it's up 2% right now, but remember, I think this was a much bigger play than just what you're seeing here, like breakout and maybe run into the highs, because you cannot look at this without, and just give me a second, because this is what he was talking about. This is what Brian was all about as well. Look at the long bottom consolidation for Match on the monthly. So it's not just giving you a breakout on the daily. If it gets through 40, you've got like serious upside. That's 10% from now. For sure. We have another super chat as I fight a sneeze. Throw it up there if we can, Andre.
No, don't fight a sneeze.
Adam James abroad. You've been abroad for quite some time.
He has. These guys traveling
When are you
around.
coming home, Adam? VCIG, at Bovin, at Sharif, the small cap traders. We always hear about Bovin, the small cap trader. Sharif's other set of eyes, I believe. Boomtown, please. We don't have a Boomtown key, so I can say Boomtown. I can't really do much more than that.
Oh, okay.
It's above VWAP, it's breaking out,
Teslas.
but it is still underneath aftermarket breakout levels. 440 looks like the resistance in the aftermarket on VCIG. And just very quickly, I'm not going to show a small capper without at least showing you guys what the daily chart looks like, so for some historical context. Make sure you bank some profits on VCIG. It speaks for itself this daily. 1 or 2 days up and the rest of the time down. Let's go to Adara.
Story.
Oh, man.
This. So basically, we know on USO, we had that big move higher after we had Iranian state media reporting that Iran and the U.S. have reached a memorandum of understanding to end the conflict. Then I guess an individual reposted a post about that on X. And then the Rapid Response Team, which is again the White House official Rapid Response account, they reposted this guy's comment. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not going to show this post because it's pretty political, but they basically said that this individual who believes the war has actually ended and believes that this memorandum of understanding is real has, quote, warped his peanut-sized brain that he's starting to take Iranian state media as fact and peddle disinformation on their behalf. So they're basically saying that anyone who believes this Iranian state media report, again, has a peanut-sized brain. So basically, White House, again, as mentioned earlier, indirectly denying these reports that there is a memorandum of understanding to end the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. I apologize, guys, that was really long-winded, but such is the nature of this news. If we get a more direct denial from the rapid response team, I'll let you guys know. I'm staying posted. Back to you.
Micron, by the way, breaks 900. So, you know, we got a bunch of outs there. We're trying to average in right here against 895, but it looks like that's going to break right here, right now. So Micron, going red, just like that. So, you know, the day that we sort of start to look at this day, this name is not a good one. As there it goes, you know, you always take trades you know, sort of against you, I feel like, when this market happens. It's very hard to sort of catch the trend, and that's not what's happening right now with Micron as it's bleeding lower and lower. It looks like Marvell, same kind of way. That one is downside now as well as we break through 200. Just going to give this one a little bit of a breath, but Marvell too. This is down now 10% plus. It was up 6-7% off the open, now down 4%. So there goes Marvell to the downside. Everything bleeding. We are able to get out of the majority of our shares everywhere, like TQ's drops out there at 81. We did a good job making it back there, but then there's the drop back for 81. So we still obviously red there, red on Micron, and we wait to see. This is going to be red on Marvell. Doesn't appear to be any move back. Wow. I mean, I'm glad that we got out there at 925, but that just touched 825, 895. But there's the break now through 890 now on Micron. So hasn't been a red day for a minute, but today, so far, yes. As the NASDAQ now, remember we got back to green, now you're down 0.5 as the NASDAQ trying to hold out and not doing a great job of that.
Speaking of red, shout out to Silly No Show. Has anyone looked at Reddit?
Oh, Reddit.
I have now. I hadn't. And you know, sometimes, you know what, this isn't on, I don't think Reddit's even on my, that's the problem. I don't think Reddit's on my quote board. Where is my quote board and why is it still on the locator? Yeah, I don't think I have Reddit on my quote board. I'm just gonna search, because that's a mistake if it's not, and Reddit is not on my quote board. So I'm gonna rectify that after we talk about it here. I don't know if there's a story for Reddit why it's up 7%, but relative strength is relative strength and you shouldn't really care where it lies. Anything that's up today, if this rotation continues, then you can see anything that rotated strong. Like Reddit's up, the IGV is doing fantastically. Actually, forget that for a second. USO just made a pretty hefty move down right into VWAP. So maybe something, USO has been gliding higher. If this is breaking trend, that could give us a little reason to maybe catch a bit of a bid. I only care because it's at VWAP and IBIT refuses to break the low of the day, just at a bottoming tail candle. I'm gonna have to jump out of this traded era.
I haven't seen anything else here on USO, but I want to let you guys know, Reddit, the only news that I'm seeing on this, they announced today that Steve Huffman, who is, of course, their co-founder and CEO, he's going to be attending this BofA Securities event on June 3rd, so that is next Wednesday. It's not imminent. But RDDT also got hit decently late last week on that story that Meta, Instagram would be having its new Forums feature, which is competing with Reddit. So again, just could be a very massive relief rally. If I find out more, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
Go ahead, yeah.
I just saw in the chat, first of all, that bottoming tail candle, I just jumped out of IBIT. I can get back in at VWAP if I can. Someone just said, why do I say the IGV is doing fantastic? It's red on the day. Well, first of all, it did just go green, but this is why I say it's doing fantastic. This is the NASDAQ. The IGV is still software. It's tech. This is the NASDAQ trending today. I know it's a 15-minute versus a 3. This is the IGV today. And I understand from an investing standpoint, you care about where it is relative to the prior close. But from a trading standpoint, it has been buy on the IGV while the overall market's been a sell. In my books, that's doing fantastic. If you're completely bucking the overall trend of the rest of tech, then it's having a good day. So anything in an upward trend right now, like it's not even sideways. It's a very clean upward trend here in the IGV. That's all I really meant by it. I get it. If you bought it at the close yesterday, you made zero money. But it's all relative here. And it's clearly been doing very well. And you can look at the individual names and even see that too. Look at Microsoft. Microsoft's red on the day, but can you really say it's having a bad session? I don't think you can, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, Microsoft's acting with the market both right now up 0.3 down. So I don't know. I mean, Micron, I think this is where the money is coming out of, I feel like. I mean, if we go over to SOX L today, you're probably getting crushed. I mean, yeah, there it is, down 8%. So we actually looked at sort of the broader markets a couple times earlier. I'm getting out of some of these names as we try to morph a little bit higher here, but I don't know if that's what's going to happen. There's NVIDIA right there. JP Morgan was down 2.3 or 2.7%, now 1.8, but it's over here, the electronic technology names, Intel, AMD, Qualcomm, SanDisk, Corning, right? What's this name over there? Coherent. Yeah, there we go. That's another investable name there from NVIDIA. That's a downside. Sienna there, Vertiv, everything getting hit to the downside. And of course, the dead one, as Sharif talks about, Apple is alive and kicking there today. Energy down, right? We saw USO get a little bit knocked there as the NASDAQ went upside there on the story that potentially the memo of understanding out trying to figure out what the strait's going to get open back up. So we do see some downside push there. And of course, sitting in XOM or CVX or pretty much any of these names is going to get you that dividend, but don't chase dividend. That would be a very, very bad thing to do there as well. GEV, Caterpillar, all these names downside right now. We have more news from Adara.
Oh, I don't know why I did that. I ended up checking the rapid response account on X yet again at the exact right moment. This came out about 26 seconds ago when I refreshed, so probably a minute ago now. But again, guys, rapid response 47. This is the official rapid response account in the White House saying, quote, this report from Iranian-controlled media is not true. And the MOU they, quote unquote, released is a complete fabrication. Nobody should believe what Iranian state media is putting out. All caps, facts matter. So the White House now formally denying that this MOU with the U.S. and Iran that Iran reported, they're saying this is not true at all. Back to you.
Talking about it, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Like USO was basically
boy.
breaking back. Like it was
Not
breaking trend. It was doing this. It had the channel up. It was breaking the channel down. That was get out of shorts, look for longs, and then now you're already back into the upside. So I suppose I look for an entry. It's still a double bottom in IBIT, so I got to wait for VWAP again to try to take another shot at that. I'm not really seeing anything I love the longs in at this particular moment. I was just looking at CBRS, which, by the way, was. You mean to tell me today is the day the Cerebras is back up 7%? Like, logic be darned. Like, the overpriced IPO in the AI space as the market bleeds is the one that ramps $20 off of the open, I guess. Maybe this will end up being a little something to the south side. If I see us breaking fresh lows in the middle portion of the day, I might try to take this to the short. I did pay for locates just now, but I missed the trend break on Cerebras. But IBIT is battling back.
Okay.
At least for now, there might be a chance at that VWAP, but I'm looking maybe IREN to try to go back into long. It's still holding that 61 area. But look at that trend break. That was $1 ago that it broke the trend. I don't want to chase it. You got to be getting in on these candles. And that's when all this news was disseminating and USO was trying to fly higher. But IREN has been a beast. I just think it's more of a scalp trade into VWAP for now, because that's a false break through the high. False break through the high, reversal. I'm playing it like a head and shoulders if I get back in.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to watch out for that USO and see. Like, I was thinking that might, tank this market a little bit on that news, because all of a sudden now there is no agreement, but it seems like it's starting to tick it back higher. So let's take advantage of that. And what I've been thinking today hasn't necessarily been right. So as I said, let's bleed out a little less now, get some out on this NASDAQ as it goes bump back upside here. We've just been taking some out near these lows. Hopefully we do have a move higher. We won't have as big of a piece on if that's the case. But hey, man, that's what trading's all about. Sometimes you make the wrong calls, and sometimes you make the right ones. And today they've been wrong. That is for sure. IREN, hey man, if we were mad about dumping out of IREN, it just went to the low of the day right there, bouncing off $60 again for IREN. So this could be something to look for if it's something that you're down with. We've been trading Mr. Softy a while. The last little while, that's for sure, and now 414, so they had some nice lows there into 410, and this name is dead for now. I don't think we'll be looking at it. I mean, you want to talk about stock being the dead one. This has been doing nothing since the middle of April right now, and now just slightly underneath those levels. So we'll, wait for Microsoft. I'm not super excited about that. I just got the hit on it because it had broken through the day's high there and now just came back in. Just looking, Microsoft, Starbucks, Palantir. We haven't looked at Starbucks yet. Let's have a quick look to see what that name's doing. Again, trying to get a little away from this market. And there it is. Yeah, so another day high right there for bucks. I'm going to take a couple bucks right now and again stop this bleeding. We just went into the 50 period, sorry, the 25 period moving average for Marvell and stopped completely. Again, we almost got back. Well, we were flat. That's why it sort of triggered me to look at it. It does get back up to 203 there on Marvell, and now just drops right back in. So we've been averaging into this bottom, watching out for a 200 break, and it looks like that may be happening. So far, so good there on getting out. Look what just happened with the futures. Bounced again off this level, so I'm going to take another piece out right here at 94, 95, whatever it was, as we wait out for that name. Someone said to me, Sean, look at BBAI. Okay, yeah. Good, happy with it. We like that stock. We're long at $4.20. It's been my price. I haven't done anything in a year with Big Bear AI, so I'm not sure why I'm always getting tagged with it, but it's been a name that I've talked about and supported. Like I said, the last time I bought anything in Big Bear AI was this move down. No, sorry, it was, yeah, that move up. So we saw the move up. Then we started buying it down here, averaged it in, got an average price of 420, got it out on the way back up again. Then it fell, didn't do anything this last time. Maybe we got a little bit out, I don't think so. And then all the way back in, and I can't remember which loop, I can go back and check the transactions, but if we bought it on this way down or this way down. So we haven't done anything in Big Bear AI in a long time, and it's trying to bounce right now off 350. So hopefully that can get going. I still like this name if it breaks through 450 on the top there, but that's gonna be a minute from now. Hopefully it happens today, but really looking for a $5 break through the 200 period moving average on Big Bear AI. That would be nice. And then I'll throw back to Neil quickly. We just did get that fill on Marvell, so thankfully it came right back up and giving us that fill at 202.50, so roughly flat. Now looking for it to break long, as there goes the futures. Finally a good little level there on the futures. We'll put an offer there at 30s and take a little bit out. The bleeding has to stop at some point, or does it? Micron, Neil, just took 900 again. Well, as that's bouncing back.
It did. DRAM is potentially breaking the trend as we speak too. So, look, I got to show you guys Tesla. So the difference between
Tesla's ripping.
Having a good day, being up there, having a really good day is, Tesla did make that 1030, 435 hold. So 1030 being the time, and then 435, and then it was true. Again, like the third move was the better one. So you try it, a couple of times. And it's just so easy to move on to the next opportunity. And then Tesla, the third time was a charm. All right, DRAM is not yet breaking. It needs to get through $60 here, the ETF, the memory space ETF, if you're not familiar with it. If it gets through 60, that'll be a trend break for me up here in DRAM. And then there's one other name that we didn't really talk too much about. Firefly Aerospace has a distinct seller all over VWAP here. So if Firefly can break out above VWAP, I also like this for a bit of a breakout trade long. Like it didn't make a fresh, when the market was making fresh lows, it was still making a higher low, and they got that good, it was a Blue Origin.
That Tesla's making me.
What was It was a NASA, it was a NASA contract. That's what it was. Blue Origin was the downside for Lunar.
Before we go over to Adara, I mean, look at this, man. The #1 trade, and it only breaks by 50 cents, and I don't even get it. I completely missed that. I mean, it's a good thing Neil just brought it up, but there it is right there. 436 area long on Tesla. Like, wow. We were definitely, the only thing we were really wrong on, the IREN was fine. It's still there if we want it again, so I shouldn't really worry about it. But there was TSLA is the name of the name, as a symbol there. Look at this, 436, man. The lowest it gets is 435.50s. Wow, as Neil mentioned, that was definitely the banger trade of the day there as we wrote it down. IREN was the other one that hit down to 61 bucks, still there right now. I just didn't really get the juice off of that. Tesla's move was beautiful because it came in and then bounced completely off of it, which is what that level, which is kind of what you're looking for. Really stupid of us not to hold on to Micron, but hey, man, as I said, like that bleeding, who knows when that was ever going to stop. But we're making a little bit back now on our good friend Marvell. We're just waiting for a fill up near 80. Let's go back over to Adara and figure out what she's talking about.
As everyone's been discussing today, a bit of a rotation into some of these sectors that we don't necessarily discuss a lot. We're always talking, oh, big tech, but lots of strength, as mentioned by Neil earlier today. FedEx got an upgrade this morning. They're strong within transportation, which is overall strong as a sector. Health tech generally looking pretty good. Retail trade. You've got Amazon up about 2%, Home Depot up like 3%, Lowe's up 3.5%. You've got Target at 3.5%. So some of these names that did not react the best to their earnings report, most of which were last week, they're doing quite well today. Consumer durables really strong as well here. Tesla up, but also Ford and GM up about 5% apiece. Consumer services strong. Commercial services strong. Health services looking really good here. Consumer non-durables looking great as well. I mean, these tobacco names, as of late, they're kind of performing on their own. They're about flat today, but lots of strength in PG and Coca-Cola, among others. Tech services does have some strength in specifically those SaaS plays. So CRM ahead of their earnings tonight, they're up 2.5%. AppLovin up a whopping 10%. CrowdStrike, though, down 3%. Fortinet down 4%. Lightly trading in sympathy with Zscaler, which is down roughly 30%. Electronic tech, last but not least, there is some strength to be had here. I mean, Micron, despite dropping massively from its pre-market high, they're still up on the day. Apple's green as well, but Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Texas Instruments, and Qualcomm are to the downside. So if we're to kind of zoom out, a lot of the names that are strong are going to be, like, the sector is going to be trading as a group to the upside. A lot of the names that are weaker might be having some of these sectors have a little bit of divergence within themselves, specifically tech and electronic tech. You're seeing kind of subsectors trade together rather than the entire group trade as a unit. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. And for the first time all day, actually, no, technically, this was over at 7:15. This was above VWAP on Fly, but it's back there now. So that little breakout above the seller at VWAP, I'm in. I'm gonna give it to the 58. You had a 2-bar prior close at 58, and then it opened at the 58 level. So give it to the even dollar. Look to play it back into the 60s. Unfortunately for DRAM, it went right into the trend line that I drew, and it's now gone. And guess what it did? It held the trend. So DRAM holds the trend and heads back in lower. I'm gonna guess this might have something to do with it, but USO continuing to make fresh highs, because why wouldn't oil spoil the bounce that we're having here in at least some of the memory names? So there's still a chance that this could break trend and I get in, but maybe USO goes to the pre-market highs and turns around there, and then there's a better opportunity to maybe get that long breakout, but it's close. So looking for Fly, we'll get that 59.5, and then you got about $60.50 would be the next level upside here on Fly. As Klaus just called NVIDIA hot trash in the chat.
Hey, he's not gonna be wrong.
Did we just go? It's 10:44. I don't think I've even called up NVIDIA today, outside of the pre-market, and there it is. Hot trash, LOD. You're allowed to say that today about it. It's still hanging at the lows, down 2.5%. So that's a pretty fair assessment today. Yeah. I think sometimes we'll say some things about stocks that are not deserved. Today, it's pretty trash.
Yeah, no, for sure. Shout out to my friend. If I can show this on a new tab, I'll get it going on here. Copy and paste a picture of High Park. He's over there right now. What a beautiful park that is. All right, so here we go. Yeah, hot trash. I mean, Marvell would be part of that as well. I mean, Marvell today started up 6%, now down 3%. Let's call it down 10% there, from 222 down to 200. That's 10% in my books, and it's trying to get lower right now. We take advantage of those moves up into the 50-period moving average, and right now watching out for a $200 break on Marvell. Unfortunately, it seems like it's imminent, because the NASDAQ did bounce back a little bit there, and we didn't get the love back in the chip names, really. I mean, this is a bounce of $3. I don't really think that that's super significant for Marvell. So yeah, it looks like that one will continue to bleed. We took good advantage of this. This broke into the 50s again. So the NASDAQ and the TQs continue to go lower, and as the market just trying to figure it out. It's been on such an epic run, both April and May. So now coming into the end of May, maybe it's getting a little more realistic right now on what to expect. USO was downside pretty much all morning on that initial report there of some sort of an understanding, and then all of a sudden that came out that was completely false. Like I said, I don't know if the left hand's talking to the right or what's going on there, but a lot of mixed reports. We called actually that play early when this first happened. We said there would be a rebound, and I just didn't think it would be this dramatic, especially the NASDAQ kicking down as low as it has. But for right now, it's USO time, and that's up to 133 again. So yeah, a little bit of relief at the pump coming as summertime Fuel prices always are going northbound anyways, let alone what's happening today with USO and some of those stories. Just keeping my eye on different, like, you know, Alibaba just came up to the scanner there. I don't even know why. Let me have a quick little look to see what Alibaba is doing. Oh, the 50-period moving average, I guess, on a 5-minute chart. Watching out for that break right there. Back through. Alibaba started, like, look at this. Alibaba started the day quite low, and now on a nice little run up there for Chinese names. Definitely on the battle back. Looks like the street was what? I missed that comment there. PTO and dumping. What is PTO? Party on? Something like that?
I have no.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar by PTO, but there it is. Neil, are you sitting out of the MSTR short long Nokia? I guess.
Well, I played IBIT today. I think it was more of like a level. We were really close to that. It was a 75,000 level, so I was looking at IBIT instead of MSTR. I like the argument. You're right that MSTR has been weaker, so it's probably place to go. Just quickly, this DRAM broke the trend and kind of took out that prior bar high at $60 here. So back through 60, long stop will be. I guess I'll use the current. Might as well use the current low because that's the wick. So just gonna get my stop in there, and then I don't really have a terribly good reason why I preferred IBIT today. I think I just looked at the chart, was like, well, I like the levels a little bit better. So I was looking at it from the standpoint of 43.4, like right in here, like double bottom there, flat bottom break, and then a bit of a pivot zone. So I just liked the short from there. Thought there's two places to play it. Could play it there, and then I could play it at the low, and I would get 2 cracks at the short working out. But does it really matter which one? Like, you're just gonna win either way. If you played MSTR, sort of the same thing. Broke down, holding lower highs, the relative weakness is there 100%. You can't go wrong shorting crypto. And then, of course, on a day where the market's weak, you're probably just winning either way. But yeah, I still think it's relatively weak, and we'll go back into it. Firefly, remember that VWAP break on Firefly? Mm-hmm. It's still slowly chugging away. Volume not the best. Like, Firefly was doing much better volume all of yesterday's session. This is more akin to what it was doing in the afternoon. And in the afternoon, the bounces were more in the $1 to $1.50 range on this volume. So I think this ends up being more of a scalp trade. And then DRAM, I think, with this trend break, if this gets to VWAP, I'm perfectly happy with that. Oh, like, give me 60.5, give me 61. If I get VWAP, I'm out of this thing. The shorts have been the better way to go here. Let's go to Adara. Time for Money Talks.
Let's take a look here at the US dollar, which is kind of just chopping around in yesterday's range. Low here of day just below yesterday's low, but a high within. So this is a really range-bound session on a day where we're not going to get any massive economic data. There was a number, I guess, that came out at 10 a.m. Richmond Fed Composite Index, not a number that's usually closely followed. 13 here, above estimates of 4 and above the prior print of 3. At 11 a.m., just do some housekeeping while we're here. You get the President Trump cabinet meeting that's apparently going to be held at Camp David. White House link not live yet, but once this goes live, I will be following it for you guys and keep you guys posted with all of the market-related comments. Now, keep in mind, oftentimes these start late, so even though it says 11 a.m., it could start really at any time, and I will be there to follow it for you guys. Also, at 1 p.m., we're going to get the 5-year note auction at 3:55, so just right before the bell, you're going to get comments from Fed's Lisa Cook, and then way after the bell, we're going to get comments from Fed's Goolsbee. I want to mention here, too, tomorrow morning, biggest economic data drop of the week thus far. It's going to be PCE and core PCE. PCE month over month, 0.5% is the forecast, 0.7% the previous print. Year over year, you get 3.8% as the forecast, the prior print of 3.5. So you're expecting cooling in month over month, but heating in year over year, which is really interesting. Now for the core prints, month over month PCE expected to be 0.3% versus the prior print of 0.3% in line. And then core PCE year over year expected to be slightly hotter than it was last time, 3.3% versus that prior print of 3.2%. So what we're looking for, guys, is in line to cooler month over month PCE across the board, but core and non-core year-over-year PCE could get a little bit hot. Back to you.
Oh man, I wish we had stale. Stuck in that Micron. What an absolute beast Micron is right now. Back up to 910. Here we go. I said this is the second home here, although it's more like the third home. Pick any rink is more like the second home. But there it is, man. This is High Park, and shout out to my good friend Anthony sending this through. You can see actually someone maintaining it right now. Absolutely love this field. We have a raised mound, great lights, scoreboard, everything. This is legit. Shout out to that. And I was actually looking it up. Drake, although you guys don't like Drake, many people don't, played also at High Park. So he tweeted out a High Park Little League picture a little bit as well there. Joseph played at High Park? Oh, so did I. Yeah, my kids played ball hockey there too. Yeah, High Park is great. Great pool, great everything. Shout out to that, and shout out to Drake as well. My kids also went to the school that his mom taught at. So right there, I live, near Drake's raising hood there where he was raised. Okay, so anyways, Marvell there, 202, waiting to get that going. This is the trade of the day though, Micron. Like we lost out on it, but right there off of 900. Let's see if it wants to go. I mean, it gets as low as 890. Micron really falling down $90 to actually more than that, almost $100 today down for Micron and still green. That's the funny part right there for Micron. My trading is too hard for the radio today. So there's Rocket Lab as well, 143, trying to get that going. And then IREN. The definite mistrade of the day, of course, is why is this idiot talking? And I'm talking about myself. When we put down here, right there, the trade of the day was Tesla 436 area long. It falls right into that spot there, and it could have been the moneymaker that we wanted it to be today, and we don't do anything about it. Didn't even realize it came down into there. Tesla down to 436. Obviously, we were dealing with demons in the NASDAQ and Micron and all that, but wow, that right there would have turned my day completely around with that Tesla. We may even been green if we had that trade, but we do not. And that's sometimes what happens, right? As Neil mentioned there, you take one trade, it could make or break your whole day. And that Tesla definitely there would have made it. But instead we don't have it, so we just move on to the positions that we do have. But yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Tesla, missed opportunity. What a trade down there at 436. We'll just see if we can be better tomorrow.
And I just saw in the chat there, Salvador just said, I'm just going to throw it up there. I don't have to read it. I can show you guys. Yeah. What a morning, been battling, trying to buy these dips and just gave up. I am flat for the day, but it's been hard. Here's the thing. When you're in a downtrend, like today, if you're flat buying dips in a downtrend, a trader's got to have some flat days. Think about it. If you're against the grain the entirety of the morning, all you've been doing is taking longs, and you're flat or up, then you've had a good day. Whether it's been perfect, I'm not happy with myself about Tesla. Can you be?
No, you cannot.
Not really, because it gave the trend break, and it's exactly like yesterday. The first two times were the warm up, and then the third time was the time that it actually went, and that's where you get the follow through. And then IREN as well. IREN was positive, but it's look at how far it went. And the market was relatively weak at that point, and I was thinking short. So I was getting out of that. I'm going into IBIT, which is more of a scalp trade. And I don't even like this stock anymore. But you just got to be able to find them. At the end of the day, just try to have the best risk management possible and be able to move on to the next. I'm pretty sure at one point this morning in our setup, when we were doing the pre-market, I even said, I'll have a look at, if we start trending down, I'll have a look at DRAM. For the south side, and then didn't even go over to this when it failed VWAP. But now it's a trend break upside where I'm looking for VWAP. But it's on the radar because, hey, they're moving. And as long as memory's moving, it should provide some opportunity. So this is now the only thing we're left in with about 5 minutes to go. And you know what? I just realized we didn't even talk about Redwire. How is this thing? It was 20%. Oh. What is, there's an RDW plus. My bad. That's the wrong thing in the drop down. Oh yeah, well, it's doing basically what everything else was. Still green on the day, but this is where it's deceiving. Yeah, it's up 6% if you bought it at the close yesterday, but if you bought it at the open, it's been trend down. This is why we like close prices, everybody. See the 22? Look where it actually bounces. Where does support come in? At prior day close. Prior day close is such a key level. It's a good place, either prior highs and prior close, good place to look for those gap fills and try to catch longs if you're being patient about it. And we got a super chat here from Dathong? I'm butchering the living,
There it is.
Thank you for the advice on Tesla 435. You put to 435 and then a call, now exit, yeah, congrats. And it's the same principle. Pull back into prior high.
The market.
Or the actual, sometimes it'll be the close price. Other times you're looking at the prior high. It goes right in and breaks a trend as the market's back under 30,000.
Yeah.
NASDAQ doesn't want it today.
Hey, definitely glad someone's making a little bit of money there, but we forgot to go, we're having so much fun. We forgot to cover what's for lunch, so let's do that real quickly. My trading won't be paying for any of this today for sure. Chicken souvlaki, it's Greek, so it's always kind of the same here. Chicken souvlaki with tzatziki, not bad. Warm pita bread, we had some fajitas yesterday with their rice pilaf, of course. I mean, this is a Greek meal here today with roasted seasoned vegetables. And then it says Mediterranean salad, but then it says feta. So it looks like we're going to get a Greek salad finally. They're one of Neil's sort of, you say, what do you call it? Like, not arch nemesis, but Achilles heel there. When we always have Greek food, and then you're like, where's the Greek salad?
But then it's not because they don't give us a Greek salad.
Yeah, hopefully that's some olives.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. I love a Greek salad.
Yes,
it's just that we don't get a Greek salad when they have.
It's like your pet peeve, I guess, maybe.
Well, it's just a little weird. Why have the flag? If you're gonna send us a menu for lunch, and this is the flag, then why wouldn't it be a Greek salad?
You know,
I'm just saying, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong. Like the Greek salad is one of the. It's easy to make. Refreshing.
Yeah, I love Greek salad there. Little fresh tomatoes there.
Big time fan.
Family style. Look, AMD is bouncing here off these levels right now, and everything else is not. So, AMD, good little bounce there off 486. I'm just talking about, sorry, I should just talk about Marvell. They're the ones going to the downside there as well. NVIDIA still at the lows, and Marvell, we just took a bid there at 200, and we're just going to give it another $1. If this breaks back down below its low of the day, 199.20 there, then we have to stop out. I mean, this is earnings day for Marvell. It looks like they want to sell it off. Hopefully this isn't a sign of what's to come. We talked about this with Brian yesterday, maybe 170, a buy zone there for Marvell. If they do slip up, then they're doing that today, downside on MRVL, big time. Now down like 13% or so. It was up 7 or 8% to begin with. So now you hit that downside trade right there again. And yeah, there it is, man.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
So Joe, for the fly trade, here's the thing about the fly trade. It's exactly, the reason I'm out of it is the same reason that I was in it. This is exactly where it bounced in the afternoon yesterday. So remember they got the positive news here off of 58.5. It then bounced VWAP. It was a 58.75-ish long here that stopped at 60. So when it was breaking VWAP, I'm like, hey, that breakout is the exact same move. So I'm just going to do the exact same trade as the afternoon. This one ends up continuing, but I'm not really expecting continuation on some of these longs at big resistance levels when the market's doing what it's doing. If we had held 30,000, like if the NASDAQ had held up here and we were starting to round the top and make higher lows, to me that's more of a hold. But on a day like today, what's worked is just take the wins that you have and make sure that your stops are reasonable. But Fly is going higher. Some of the space names doing a heck of a lot better than the others. Rocket Lab off the bottoms, but it's back to green. Never mind. So Rocket Lab's now back into the green. It was Lunar was the one that got hit early, and now Lunar's up 11%. Like this is the one that's probably defying the most odds for me. Like they missed out on a contract. The market's weak, and they're actually filling the gap into the upside. I might wait for an all-day trend break on LUNR, something like this. I'm just going to hit save. I'm going to leave this up and make sure we have locates on this because you should always be prepared. I'm not really offering 40. I just wanted to see if we could actually short the stock today. We can. This breaks a trend. I think I'm going to go short Lunar at some point during lunch while I'm eating a non-Greek salad.
Yeah, no, it should be Greek today. That's what I was trying to tell you.
But the salad
Mediterranean.
will not be. The salad's not going to be a Greek salad. It never is.
Yeah, it probably won't be.
They never do.
All right, guys, thank you for joining. It's 11 o'clock. We want to welcome back Sia. She'll be a part of the midday show for sure. Thanks to Dara. It's been a lot of fun here so far today. We'll wait to see what winds up happening with this market. Going lower right now as the NASDAQ down 0.5%. We will see you guys very, very soon. Marvell continues to fall down. We'll see you guys on the 2 p.m. spot. Good luck with some of these small cap names.